What's up, everybody? I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, Dave Carroll from Dope Marketing.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. Actually, thank you for having us here.
Hey.
But I
Yeah,
want to start off by saying I have been a Dope Marketing customer for 5 years now.
we appreciate
And
that.
I've looked up to these guys for a lot of different reasons because when you have vendor relationships in a home service business, you know that for every good one, there's about 9 or 10 ones that end up not working out. So, with that being said, I'm super stoked to have Dave on. I want Dave just give us the rundown of like, give me the elevator pitch of what Dope Marketing is, and then we can just chop it up from there.
Absolutely. So, dope marketing, outside of being like a cute, cheeky name, dope actually stands for data on previous engagement. So, we help business owners make data driven decisions. And at times, like in the world of AI and tech and automations, like that can sound a little fluffy. So, when we started off, we built a piece of software that makes direct mail simple. A lot of ways to like generate leads for your home service business. We focus on the mail side. So, from strategy, design, connecting with your CRM, tracking all of it, like we built a piece of software that does that. Now, like we were kind of talking about, if you told me 5 years ago I'd own a print shop, I'd kind of tell you were crazy. That wasn't really the plan. But as businesses grow and you identify opportunities, Dope also grew into like a full service print shop. So, like how you and some of your clients use our business, like yard signs, door hangers, flyers, folders, business cards, like the stuff you need. Well, we manufacture all that in house. And then we introduce customers, clients, partners to our software that helps you get better leads in the right neighborhoods for less money that convert higher.
Okay, so let's start right there. Let's just get right in tactically. So for me, coming from the frame of a home service business owner myself, I had done prior to you guys, I had blasted EDDM campaigns. And so for anybody listening, EDDM is like you go to the post office, you drop them off a bunch of generic blank yard signs. They give you a cheaper, or excuse me, generic blank postcards. They give you a cheaper rate because they're not personalized. They just slap it in the hands of the post guy. You buy a route.
Yep.
The problem with that is if you're not careful, it hits apartments. So if there's an apartment building, there's
Right.
500 units in the apartment, it hits all of them, whatever else. I didn't have good results doing that in my business, so I gave up on it.
Sure.
But there's still a use case for it,
Yeah.
right? And then the other side was we had done just like blasting out personalized mailers. When I say personalized, the only difference was we would buy data and we would just like send it to Tim
To a
Smith
list or
to a
something
list.
versus the whole route.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
to me, it felt like at our stage, right? Like we just hit 1 million in top line sales for the first time. And so
Congrats.
we're getting up to that is like a lot of this audience is like guys getting up to that.
Absolutely.
And so like kind of the interesting part is like when you're looking at parking marketing dollars at that stage in the business,
Yep.
blast mailing isn't like amazing without a little tact on the back.
Correct.
So for you guys, where you guys came in, I was like, dude, this is like a no-brainer, and I looked for it forever, was the let's start with just the CRM automation tying.
Yeah.
So I just closed out a job. I'm on the dope plan where
Sure.
we have it tied to our CRM.
Yeah.
Walk me through exactly what it's doing.
So regardless if you're on Jobber, House Call Pro, whatever CRM, if you think about the statuses of your job, right? Like lead comes in, estimate is given, job is scheduled, job is completed, job is sent an invoice, like whatever your status. We can look with you at your CRM. You pick the trigger, and whether it's the nearest 10 homeowners, 25 homeowners, 30 set, like whatever you want to do, we can make postcards automatically go to the neighbors of those jobs. And there's some logic and some strategy around that. We'll get into that in a minute. But our software allows for neighborhood sendings, which are like any trigger in your CRM, send to them out of the neighbors. Hey, we just got a job approved in your area. Pardon the dust, pardon the noise. We're working here. Here's a deal of the week. Here's a recent review or a project. We have industry specific templates, strategists, account managers that set up all of that. So, our best and most used strategy, any industry for anyone watching, it's called a brick by brick. One postcard a week for 4 weeks in a row to the neighbors of your current jobs.
And they're gonna do like closest 5 neighbors, closest 10, closest 15.
Yeah, so and this comes down to like I know like people watching this are in different industries. So
Right.
depending on like the time of year, what's your average job ticket? We'll do a little more or less for like someone doing roofing versus a gutter cleaning versus Christmas light installation. So We'll help give some advice and guidance around like the number of homeowners, but let's just say on average, it's usually like 10, 25, or 50. And then the cadence of this specific strategy is once a week for 4 weeks in a row.
And then it's 4 different designs to
Different
drip from.
designs. Yep.
Okay. And I don't know if this was you. This was years ago, but somebody talked about a study where they canvassed a neighborhood and they asked like 100. Is this you?
Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay. Walk everybody through this. I've told the HSA community about this 1,000 times, but I
Yeah,
want it to come from the expert.
yeah.
Tell the story about that little use case study that it was an agency or consultant did.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like it was a real estate company that did it. It
Okay.
was so they went out and it was a real estate company. I think it was like 200 homes in this neighborhood. They went out and they knocked a bunch of doors. And they're like, "Who's the number one real estate agent in this neighborhood?" And first guy's like, "Oh yeah, it's Julie, you know, the lady on the billboard. She sells all the houses." Next guy like, "It's my niece Cindy. She's the greatest. She just started." Next guy's like, "Oh, it's the dude from down the street, my uncle's net." No consistency between the 200 homes. So you go, okay, interesting, because like there's big agents, small agents, some spend money, some like whatever.
So out of 200, they probably got 150 different answers.
No, yeah, 150 different answers
Okay.
for sure.
Right.
So they take a step back and they go, okay, let's test something. And they did. They designed a postcard, but it was for a fake real estate agent from a fake office that no one had ever heard of. They got the image off the internet, totally fake number, like no real anything.
Right.
And they sent one postcard a week for 8 weeks in a row to these 200 homes. Dave Carrol is the best real estate agent. He's the biggest. He's the baddest. He's the what, all of it.
Right.
8 weeks in a row. They go back on week 9. They go and knock the doors. I think it was like 72% of the homeowners said Dave Carroll was they agreed, the biggest, the baddest, the most known, the most homes, the most relatable, the most referred in the entire neighborhood.
Okay. So it makes sense and it's a volume conversation, right? And so where does it come in where it says like, so when I was a dumbass and I was doing the junk removal business, I was just blasting 1,000 out to like in 1 week this zip code, and then another week another zip code, and then
Yeah.
another week another one.
Yeah.
But that means that each individual house only ever got one. Do you see the positive results come from multiple drips to the same house?
So you went to Harvard like me, right? Harvard,
Yeah, I
Harvard
did.
grads,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course.
So we did a case study at Dope over the past 3 years. And the average home service business is getting 2 to 4 touches on their ideal customer. It's another little stat in there. So like 3 to 7% of our ideal target customer, no matter what service we offer, what data we provide, what we do for people, is actively looking for us right now as we're searching. The other 93 to 97%, like it's our job to brand our company. So when these customers go to make a buying decision, like they know who to choose, or at least you're up in the running.
Right.
Harvard, our alma mater,
Of course.
did a study and they said it takes 7 to 11 touches for a cold consumer to remember a brand. So no matter what you offer, junk removal, window cleaning, HVAC, Christmas lights, like whatever, fair to say like we're not the only game in town. Like there are other options for a relatively similar service that we provide. So when we go to like consistency, it's like, okay, remember when our third grade teachers told us like we were a unique snowflake and like there was no one like us in the world?
I still get told that.
I still kind of believe it sometimes.
I surround myself with people in my life that still tell me
I
that.
knew we get along for a reason. But like the thing is, humans are very like relatable, predictable creatures. Like if you put 10 guys in a room that are like on their second marriage, have 3 kids, drive a Tahoe, have a Corvette, and make 250K a year, like 8 out of 10 of those dudes are going to make the same decision, like buying decision or the same lifestyle. So you go to home service. It's like not only in a neighborhood do people like live the same life. Like just think from when you're like 18 moving out to like right now, wherever you're at in your life and like where you've lived. If you think about it, 7 or 8 out of 10 people are living like relatively similar lifestyles. They have the same the car. They make the same amount of money. They're in the same place of the relationship. The kids in the neighborhood, they're the same age. Like what all the relativity of like you're in this neighborhood, you choose where you lived for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go further for home service. It's like those houses were built around the same year of the same building materials of by 3 to 5 of the same builders. So whether you're doing like maintenance, improvement, or upkeep to the homes that you're servicing as a home service business owner, the idea is like the people around your current jobs are simply more likely to need what you're doing more than some other random private community on the other side of town that you got one job that you think you should have more work in.
Right.
Like the data of what you need to do to market your business is actually in your CRM.
And it kind of goes back to like when we talk about in Home Service Accelerator, when the guys come in and it's like baseline, the first thing we have them do is like the sniper approach, which is what we call like the sniper rifle approach, was stop blasting to 30 square miles, stop being a shotgun, start sniping the high income areas that you're already getting work, whatever else.
Yeah.
And so one of the things we do is we tell them like, you put the A-frame out in the street every single time, you door hang, or if you want to,
Fiber
if
out,
you're
whatever.
early and you're a dog, you door knock the
Yep.
closest 10 neighbors, tell them
Sure.
what's up. We have them do branded yard signs in the yards after. We have them get photo guru reviews and incentivize their crews to do that.
Yep.
They show up with the branded vehicle, like all so like 5, 6 touch
The
points right there.
touches.
Right. But the whole point of like when guys say like, oh, I've done yard signs before, they don't work. I put out the A-frame, I didn't get that many calls. Is our point is like, hey, if you do one of these things singularly, you're not going to get amazing results. But like we talk about, like when you park your truck, van, work vehicle into a neighborhood, we want to tactfully blast them with as much propaganda of who is there as possible, knowing that the best tool in selling ever is social proof.
100%.
Right.
100%.
And so like if I go to the Home Service Accelerator community and I say like, hey, I've been using dope marketing for years. I know Dave, I know his wife, like we've been using them. They're going to use it because they already have the social proof that someone else is
Of
using.
course. Yeah.
So when we talk about taking it the next step further, which is what we do now, is like you've already been in the neighborhood working, you've done all the other stuff. Let's take it a step further. Now you're blasting Facebook ad campaigns with video style ads tactfully in these high income areas. Now, and we know on Facebook conversions, whether you're selling software on the back end with Facebook ads or you're selling home service businesses or home services to homes, the Facebook ads don't convert until they've hit them 2, 3, 4 times with a creative.
That frequency up.
So that frequency score on Facebook is telling you how many times that person's seen your ad before they took action. And so it's like, so now we've got that sniper rifle approach going. Now we've got Facebook, Instagram ads going on top of it. Now it's like you can also automate mail to the neighbors because again, it's the hottest form of a lead is going to be a lead that was either referred or has seen your brand.
100%.
And so the other side too, which like I'm sure you guys know this, but for the listeners, it's like I want to really paint the picture here. It's like, dude, they just saw your truck a week ago, maybe even 3 days ago. So it's like they saw the truck. The soccer mom walked by, saw the A-frame. They may have got a door hanger if your crews are dogs. Maybe they got a gift card that you gave to the homeowner. You
They're
just
driving out of the neighborhood or at the Pilates studio. They saw the yard sign.
So
They
like,
did the
yeah, exactly. I feel like it's such a no-brainer, and it's amazing how few home service businesses have this automation set up, where it's like, dude, hit them with a mailer right after that in their mailbox because they've already seen the other brand. So like, one could make the case that you just gamified 7 to 8 touch points right there by adding mail.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you consider a mailer, compare it to when you ran EDDM or the Facebook ads that you tried that didn't work or the Google spend that last year, like whatever. It's all about the impressions. It's that 3 to 7% that are searching, the 93 to 97% that are like your job to stay in front of. And like, what analogy do you want to use? Dating, weight loss, growing a plant. Like it's the consistency of being in front of the right people all the time because like eventually they're going to need you. But do they know who you are?
Yeah, and it's like the Hormozy. It's like most people deeply underestimate the amount of volume it takes for something to be successful.
Yeah.
You ever seen that clip where he talks about like when he was doing like flyers for his first gym and he put out 300 and called his mentors like didn't
This
work.
doesn't work
Yeah.
at all. Like,
And the guy's like, we don't test with less than 10,000. Like that's a test.
reality.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And so it's like the same concept of like the guy that comes in to like either our funnel or like comments on my YouTube or my Instagram and says like yard signs didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "Oh dude, I hear you. How many did you put out?" He's like, "I put out 25." And I'm like, "Brother, add a zero to that, multiply it by 4 months straight of doing that and then tell me they don't work."
so like we I also own a home service business. We've had it for 15 years. Started off like window cleaning, gutter cleaning, got into pressure washing. We eventually got our general contractor's license. We do like a bunch of other stuff now. But like during the busy season, and this was before we owned a yard sign printer, we were putting out like 200 signs a week.
Dude.
Like if the cities weren't calling us, threatening to fine us, like we weren't doing our jobs. And it wasn't like, what was the ROI off 200 yard signs? Now there was a time where like we couldn't afford 50 signs, and I had to like tactfully put these out, and one got stolen, and I'm on Facebook talking about the competition, how mad I am that my sign is gone, like all of it, been there. But it's also like, it's just as simple as it sounds to not be the marketing guy that's like, oh, just do everything. Eventually something will work. It's not 10 years ago where it took millions of dollars with TV and radio and billboards to like own a neighborhood. Like, if you can just be a little bit disciplined, there's like this super simple exercise. Doesn't matter what CRM you use. Go to the last 3 years, or if you've been open less than that, use whatever you got, but at least 3 years if you have it. Download every job you've ever done with the address of the job, the service you provided, and how much it costs. You should be able to do that from any CRM. Put it in a spreadsheet. When you put it in a spreadsheet or a Google Sheet, there's a little half diamond in the upper left-hand corner. If you click it, it'll highlight the whole sheet. Sort it by zip code. The whole sheet. Sort it by zip code. And if you want to add something on like your top service, if you want to get that funky with it,
Mm-hmm.
take the top 3 to 5 zip codes, and you have my permission to spend 70% of your marketing budget the entire year in those 5 zip codes. Like it's literally that simple to hold yourself accountable and just be like, for whatever reason, this is where it's been working. And you can chop it up quarterly. You can go into a month. Like you don't need some crazy software to do this, but the data is in your CRM and it'll tell a story if you just crack the fucking book.
Yeah, and I think it's like, and I want to make sure that we also like we understand that we're in a slightly privileged position now with like businesses that have been in there for multiple years.
100%.
And so the tough part is when the newer guy listens, because we got listeners from all over. We got guys that listen with $1 million a month dollar businesses all the way down to guys who just started. The newer guy, because that was me 5 years ago, is gonna say, dude, I just need work. Like, if the job comes from West Phoenix, I'm gonna go get it. If a job comes from, East Gilbert Chandler,
Sure.
I'm gonna go get it. And my pushback to them is like when I've made videos about this, we show my job map of year one, and there's pins of every job we did.
Yep.
And it was, 30, 40 square
All
miles.
over.
All over. And then you look at the job map in year five, and there's, 10 times the amount of jobs, but
Pockets.
they're pocketed in
Yeah.
these areas. And so what guys don't understand is like what the epiphany that happened to me in year four was you have to build the business in year one for your future self. And so what happens is when you're running around right now and you're like, I'm just happy to make 5,000, 10,000 a
Where's the
week.
dough? $300. I will drive there right now.
But what happens is like then you build a book of business where your marketing isn't sniped down, you're not whatever. And so now it's like, okay, I'm gonna go bring on employees. Now your expenses are way higher, everything else.
Yep.
Show me a home service business that drives 40, 50 square miles in every direction right now, and I'll show you some ones where these guys are being paid for 2 to 3 hours a day behind the wheel of a truck.
It's like it goes to any discipline. Pick your poison. I'll compare it to like working out or running. It's like, when do you make the decision you're going to get serious with something? And so you can keep operating the way that's comfortable to you forever. But going back to the seat of just starting, how the hell am I going to make a payment on a van for $450 a month when the insurance is 400? Like not knowing how to figure out that bill is like, until you get disciplined about what you're doing, it's not going to change. And so there is that pain of like, I don't care if it's Angie's List, Service Master, what is like, give me the lead and give me some work to do. Where can you find the time to be intentional about where people are hearing about you? Because like the first 5 years of our cleaning business, we had guys walking around with trash bags of flyers rolled up so you could see like gutter cleaning on the top, putting them on doors. Like legitimately, guys, over the course of 2 years, like 3 times, like a homeowner came
Yeah.
with a gun thinking they were like robbing the neighborhood like Santa Claus doing that. But it's like, what do you do if you have more time than you have work? I think we can all agree, like, what's our most valuable asset?
Time.
1,440 of them in a day. They're minutes. You can't get them back. You can only spend them in certain places. If you are in a position in your business where it's like, I just got to get the next job, or there's phases of your business during the year when it's like that, where are you spending your time when you're not busy? And so you go to those pockets. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're logging your jobs in a Google sheet right now. You could still look at where those are and just dedicate. You don't have anything to do. You've heard it all before. Where's the BNI meeting? Where can I put out door hangers? Where can I find who's my target customer? Well, it's a 40 to 60-year-old, usually woman that owns a home because she's the decision maker, even though if I get in front of the husband, whatever.
Mhm.
Normal range for anywhere in the country. Where are they all day? If you work or want more high-end clients, you're looking at the high ends in town. I'm putting yard signs coming out of like the gas station or the Pilates studio or the high-end daycare or the Home Depot in that area because that sign's just less likely to get pulled.
Mhm.
If I can get into those neighborhoods, or maybe I just bought a second vehicle and it's not busy all the time. Where am I parking that thing overnight? In the parking lot, getting onto the exit from the freeway of where the ballers have to drive.
Right.
Like, there's so many ways to take a step back and like, bad news for anyone around like 30 that owns a business or younger right now. We didn't have ChatGPT to be our business therapist 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago to be like, hey, I have this really crazy idea. I'm Dave, the business owner. I'm looking for 5 creative ways to grow my brand when I don't have jobs. Like, just put that into AI and have a conversation with it. And it'll give you ideas of shit that you can do with your time. Cause I have empathy and compassion for the people that are in a position in their business right now. They're like, 40 minutes I'm driving, we're going to get to work, even if I have to do the estimate and I'm not going to land it. You can. You have your permission and everyone else's to continue operating like that forever. But if you just take a step back and hold yourself accountable, like, I'm going to have these 3 things that I do during the day that are the things that generate me work right now. Posting in Facebook groups, just like the
Yeah.
basic stuff that you know. So it's like, as easy as it is for any of us to relate to being in that mindset and mentality, it's also as easy to hold people accountable of like, how long do you really want to operate like that for?
Yeah, and the other side is like, I'm here to tell them that's not the right way.
No, it's
Like
not.
you would be better off hyper targeting into a neighborhood. Like you'd be better off sniping it.
Like
But they're
stopping people at the stop sign when they're driving into a
yeah, but
neighborhood.
like they're so and when I say neighborhoods, I mean like go down to zip codes. Like the difference between 30 square miles and 4 to 5 square miles is massive. And it's so funny because like I have one of the larger residential Christmas light install businesses in my market. And I tell the people in Home Service Accelerator, and I talk about it on YouTube all the time, even still now, where we've got, pro athletes, celebrities, actors, whatever, politicians using us in these neighborhoods where you have to sign an NDA to go do a quote
Yep.
sometimes. Like, I am humble enough at this stage to know that if I go to a local grocery store in those neighborhoods and I ask 100 people, do you know who Valley Christmas Lights is? Even still, at the size that we are, I would say 90 probably don't even know who we are still. Still. And so it's like the arrogance to think that like you can do this at the macro 30 to 40 square mile radius because you're just going to be able to service it versus like being humble enough to be like, hey, I need to dominate this square zip code, whatever else, and lean into it because spoiler, if you listen to Dave and I today and you start doing it on Monday, you will not see the results until probably like a month and a half, 2 months into doing it consistently. But
So
then you'll see it.
me and my family spend a lot of time in Puerto Rico, and we're super fortunate. It's just like it was one of the places I found that was just like it's my happy place.
Okay.
And we go there a lot, and I get the opportunity to look at the ocean. And I had this like epiphany. It was at the beginning of this year. I was looking at the ocean, and I was like, it's so easy as an entrepreneur to get caught up in like the abundance mindset that anything is possible. We're in Minneapolis. We're sitting in Minneapolis right now.
Hmm.
There's 3.5 million people in a 7 county metro area. It's about a million homeowners. That doesn't mean that every single homeowner is my potential customer.
No.
And when you think about, or where I reference like the ocean stuff, is like, I grew up in Minnesota. I don't get to look at the ocean a lot. But it hit me this one morning was just like, The abundance. If you've ever been on a trip, been down to Florida, anywhere in the world, and you've looked at the ocean and you're just like, this is huge. I related it to like, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, what's got me anywhere close to like where I'm at, whatever your definition of success is, like whatever. It's like, I believe that anything's possible. But the discipline of realizing like, you got to break shit down into goals and like look at if you have, let's say you knew how many homes in your area were worth, what's a good home in Phoenix? 5 mil, something like that.
Yeah.
So like in
Yeah.
other markets, it might be a million or 750 or whatever. What if you just knew how many homes were of that value and gave yourself more of a goal of like, we're going to service this many homes over $1 million this year. I got 3 crews. They can do 4 jobs a day. We're pretty busy 6, 7 months out of the year. And you actually just work it backwards. Instead of looking at the oceans like, I can do anything that's possible. These people at the grocery store should know who I am. Everyone could use this. We need this huge brand. And I want to be Tommy Mello or I want to be this thing. It's like, what if instead you were like, holding yourself accountable for what your capacity was. When you think about capacity in your business, it's like right now it's little bit into Q3. We're halfway through the year. A lot of us don't necessarily have Christmas light work or whatever. So like work might slow down in September going into October, depending on your seasonality, what you
Mhm.
provide. And it's like, what if just for the rest of the year, you're like, I'm not doing a ton of hiring right now. I know it takes a month or so to onboard an employee or add a truck or add equipment. I'm kind of going to work with what I got right now. What if you just understood like we're at 70% capacity right now? How do we look at our lives as home service business owners? Like kind of a 2 week window. Like how busy am I
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in the next 2 weeks right now? And where's my sanity lie with the calendar? It's kind of summer right now. It might be feeling a little squirrely,
That's
but we
so funny.
know when the kids get back into school, when everyone's back from vacation, like it's rocking and rolling again
Yeah.
until it's close to Thanksgiving, assuming you don't provide holiday services. And what if you were just like, I got 3 trucks, 1 to 2 guys on each truck. I know when kids go back to school, we're going to have like 3 jobs a day per truck. I could probably add a fourth one. One of them's busy. Our old beater truck usually isn't that busy and could provide this service or whatever.
Right.
What if you just looked at capacity instead of looking at the whole ocean and that you can do everything in every neighborhood and every lead and every job? You were just like, with our current customer list and the leads we're generating for the rest of this year, I believe right now we could do this, but I want to grow. So we're going to try to add this to it. How many jobs could you actually add? If you're generating 20 leads a week, you have a 40 or 50% close rate, you're adding 10 new jobs right now. Each of your crews can do 70% of full booking as you have it scheduled right now. What if you just did some math and we're like, I'm going to set a goal, not look at the ocean, that little island over there. It's like a mile away. I'd probably take a boat over there right now of just like, this is a realistic growth goal for what the capacity in my business is. We kind of have an idea. And again, year one, you're not going to have this site.
No.
But even in year two, those fun years were like, you're doubling. I did 50 G's last year. I'm going to do 120 this year. I'm going
Oh
to go
yeah.
from 150 to 300 or 450, like that exciting shit
You
that
start
year.
you start feeling like him. Once you start
Straight up. Like, I'm hiring an office manager. I'm getting a new truck. We're going on vacation. The wife's getting a purse. Like, we're doing it.
right.
January's coming, I promise. Just save some acorns.
Yeah.
But the idea of like the ocean mentality is what drives us. It's the grind, it's the hustle, it's the knowing that like this could be as big as I want it. And we all have examples. If you're on the internet, you have an example of someone that's doing what you're doing. You're like, I fucking know I could get there. I absolutely know that I could put the work in like that person did and I could get there. But we get lost in the ocean. We get lost in the abundance of like, it's all of it at one time now. And I haven't set goals. Wonder why you're never happy about like achievements? Because you didn't do the thing you have to do. Like business is actually really boring.
Yeah. It's
Capacity, jobs, leads, conversions.
it's math.
Who was that good at math coming up?
No,
Like some of us sold drugs or something along the way, but like the idea of you actually understand. How many people actually went to Harvard? How many people listening, watching this actually have an MBA? Like actually
listening to
came up
this?
of learning how to run a business. I know it wasn't us.
No.
And so when you're like, that discipline of getting out of the mentality around driving 40, it's literally worth more of your time to go put out yard signs and door hangers than drive 40 miles to go do an estimate. Doesn't matter what's in your bank account.
That's a That's a really good. That's like the most eloquent way of painting that picture. Like one little estimate you might go chase down versus like tripling down on the marketing because what we're talking about is math. And I think that that's like a wonderful place to go into. Like at what stage in the business growth did it stop becoming just like white knuckle piss and vinegar and did it just become math and numbers on a
It
screen?
was year 3 to 7 when you have enough accountability to just
Same.
get out of your own way. There's one exercise, I forgot what it's called. People smarter than me will know it. But when you do that, draw a cross and you go, things I like doing, things I'm good at, things I don't like doing, things
Think
I'm not good at. When you actually hold yourself accountable and realize that, like, I know hiring's scary. The idea of hiring an office manager that you don't know exactly what they're going to do for $75,000 a year that you don't have in your bank account is terrifying. I have really bad news. You don't actually have to pay it up front. Like you can plan and say, I'm going to hire these people. And based on the rate that we're going right now, knowing my business might be a little seasonal, might be like a little unpredictable at times, how can I at least justify the things that I don't like doing or that I'm not good at to make enough money to pay this person to do that thing? I've been through it. You've been through it. My hairline's here for a reason. The scary hours of like, how is this going to, you want me to do math and I'm trying to add up my bank account. Like, what are we really talking about right now?
yeah, you want me to do math? I'm trying to make the truck payment.
Like tomorrow it's due.
Yeah.
But it's also like everyone that's giving the advice around how to get out of that has been through the same thing.
Yeah, and it's actually really interesting. It's like when I talk to guys like you, we've had in the last like couple weeks, we've had, you know, 8-figure HVAC companies, roofer companies. We have $100 million exit guy coming on in the next week. And when we talk to all of these guys, like you and everyone else, what's really interesting is at a certain point, everybody talks about hiring. There's nobody who's ever not talked about hiring.
They
Like,
are. They're just not talking about it because they're still stuck there.
right. No, I'm saying the good, no, the guys that are in your position, the guys that are in the, you know, the guys that get to the stage that every one of us, including myself and all of the listeners that are wanting to get to, is that everybody wants to get to the 8-9 figure mark. Everybody does. I'm in the privileged position that with this and Home Service Accelerator and everything else, I get to have the conversations with people like that.
Sure.
And it's funny, every single time I talk to them, and because the frame that I like to do this show is like, I just hit 1 million.
Yep.
Like I'm,
Sure.
I'm out of the truck now. Like good
Business is
margins.
running, stuff is
It's like
going.
it's
Like,
different. It's a very
yeah.
interesting stage. But when I talk to every single one, eventually they talk about hiring and they talk about like hiring top talent. We just toured Dope. It's in another video. Your culture here is so noticeable. Like when you're in the room and it's like you guys have, you know, posters everywhere about like, you know, teamwork and like all this stuff. And it's not corny, it's not cheesy. You can tell the people here actually like working here.
Yeah.
The hard part for the new guy is, or let's just say the guy in my position is like, for every rock star employee that I've found, so like Jack, my director of operations, rock star, Natalie, office, rock star, sales guy, 1 out of 5 ended up being a rock star. There's a bunch of bad ones.
Yeah, that's all 100% rock stars. This isn't real life. This
And
isn't
so,
96 Bulls.
but what's funny is we were just talking about like volume, volume, volume on the marketing side. It's the same thing on the hiring side. It's the same thing on the interviewing side. It's like you don't go interview 2 sales guys and find the guy who's going to
Hiring
run your
ads are
sales
never
team.
off. That's what's never makes sense to me. People have like a marketing budget. It's like Indeed is on, LinkedIn is on. It's never off because like you need a bench. But what's your bench? You can't train your whole bench. You're constantly interviewing, constantly having hiring ads on. And in the managing, I'm assuming that some of the people you talk to outside of hiring talk a lot about like managing their minutes and their days and stuff like that. So when you think about like the amount of time that you're spending, this is going to be hard news for a lot of companies to hear, but like you have to be interviewing every week. It
And
like, and I didn't know it for 7 years into my home service business, but like you always have technician ads up. You always have even if you're not hiring salespeople, you always have a sales ad up. Because what happens when the rock star comes in? Like it's, I think it was Gary Vee that would talk about, if you could hire someone that will do 70% of what you can do, you got a good employee. I completely disagree. Give me 30. Do 30%. Like, talking about comparing it to you, to you, to me. Like, you think someone's going to show up and do 70% of what you're doing? How? That is a complete rock star. What if you were intentional about identifying a role and doing the exercise of like what I don't like doing, what I'm not good at, what I like doing, what I'm good at. And you actually had a process to bring someone into your business. And again, I know how overwhelming it is when you're like, you want me to sit down and make SOPs, dude? I'm out washing windows. I'm out putting out yard signs. But it's like all that time that you spend worrying about all these things that could go wrong that never actually happen. What if you were just spending times on like developing the things that the businesses that they are where you want to be, they had to go through that painstaking time management of like just doing that shit.
Right. And it goes back to the same thing. You grossly underestimate the amount of interview volume, resume submission volume that it takes to find a good employee, just like people underestimate how much it takes to do anything else. So, like, let's
Yeah.
take Dope, for example. You guys have what, 85 employees?
Yeah.
Okay,
In house. Yeah.
yeah, 85 employees in house. Incredible. How many applicants do you think you've gotten in the last year?
For a sales applicant, even just someone selling print and yard signs,
Yep.
not software, not customer support, like pretty inbound leads every day. Sales, we have to do 50 to 75 interviews to accept an applicant into a second round. But we have, technologies, best practices. There's a tool we use that because of the volume of applicants we get, it's a one-way interview on video. We have someone that sits and watches those for part of their week. That gets qualified. Then they get on an interview. So 50 to 75 applicants that 2 years ago, when we still were hiring very aggressively, we had someone had to do interview. They're not showing up. They're late. They're this,
Yeah.
they're that. I took the bet on what we were doing that we would miss applicants. They go, I don't want to do a video. Then you don't want to work here. Like, you guys have heard it before. Core values, the company culture, the things that you just operate around are like, you have to have them because if you want this job, I want you to have this job. But I just need you to show up for a video because we get a lot of applicants.
I actually really like they send a one-sided video as the first friction point because that's like really scalable. You're not taking a current employee or your own time and sifting through a bunch of turds. Because like what happens with us is like when we just started hiring like 3 years ago aggressively, we were like lining up phone interviews first. We were like, we'll just deal with it on the phone, but we'd have a 50% show rate on even
And
that.
then what do you do to have someone to manage that time of like, okay, now, like, let's say you could phase yourself out if it wasn't you personally had to do it.
Right.
Now you have to like manage someone's time to make sure they know what to do when someone no shows or they're late or they're this or it's running whatever. Yeah, just it worked for us.
Yeah, and so for any home service guys listening, a good tool you can do there is like if you're hiring and you're like, I got 10 guys showing up or supposed to show up. On Friday, I had 3 guys show up. You're already 7 are already cooked. Of the 3 guys that show up, 1 or 2 of them might not even pass a drug test. Like that's just the reality in home services.
100%
Like
it is.
reality.
Yeah.
One of the tactical things that like you can do to make that easier is you can do group interviews. You can do group Zoom interviews because the first friction point is them just showing up.
Yep.
And so then what happens is like you get a baseline competency of them there, and then it's like okay, you want to go either A, we'll do a formal interview after that, or we could do a field day or something like that. Then they show up to the field day. That's friction point number 2.
We snuck a little test in there too. After they would show up to group interviews, we do that with Lion Share. You give them like a test, like something to fill out to send back, then that gets their in-person interview. But just those little things,
Yeah,
it's marketing, it's a funnel, it's a whatever of just like getting it to the point where I'm assuming that the services we all offer are trainable, right?
right,
Like if you get the right employee to show up to do the thing, and like we're humans, you're gonna have different personality types, different stuff, different like
right.
whatever. But if you just focus on the fact that like assuming you get the right person in who's gonna show up on time, sober, and do their job during the day, like you have a good employee there. Do you have the stuff in place to allow them to do that? Because that's equally as important as the hiring side. And a lot of times, like one gets missed for the other in these conversations. You're like, all right, I'm all excited. I'm gonna get like dedicated with this hiring, and you don't think about like whether it's your first hire or your 10th hire, like what is the duplicatable thing? And could you go around your company and ask everyone, like, what do you think the main role of your job is, and have them give you the same answer back that you would give them?
Yeah, and so you build SOPs around that.
It's boring as hell.
It is boring, but with AI, it's a lot easier now. what is it there's like this new tech now. We just did it with like voice recordings, but like you can audio record an entire day of training somebody. You can take the transcription, throw it into Otter AI, take that, throw it into ChatGPT, say make me a checklist of every single thing that I told this person to do. Boom, SOPs, you clean it up. Now you have a baseline SOP for your install. You have a baseline SOP, standard operating procedures for anybody. That's what an SOP is. In case there was one person here that didn't know that. And then now you have this checklist that now next time you hire somebody, it's like, this is the job description. This is what we train them on. And then that guy, you're like, oh, he's bad at this. I have to add this to the SOPs so that the next time I hire somebody, it's good. You guys are doing that at like the macro level. You have to be at 85 employees. You don't get to 85 employees by just like white knuckle piss and vinegar. Hey man, you're doing this today. And they're like, oh, but you're in marketing, but I also need you to do this in the warehouse, like just on Tuesday. You can't do that.
It, it, it would be nice if it worked like that.
Yeah,
It'd be a
right.
little easier.
Yeah.
Um, it goes back to the look. I've never run $100 million company before. It's my first time. But the accountability and the learning and just like it's stealing like an artist. An artist doesn't just like stare at a blank thing. It's like, oh, magic. Like you're inspired by life, by a relationship, by something that happened, by whatever. So when I say steal like an artist, it's like, I have terrible news for you. No matter what industry you're in, no matter what you do for a living, there is someone doing it 100 times better, making 100 times more money, 100 more times than you will ever figure out in this lifetime. That's okay because you can be inspired by what other people are doing and kind of like put your spin on it. And so when I look at growth and scaling and hiring and systems and all of it, call it humility, I don't know. I am humble enough to know that I don't have the answers. Like I don't need to be right. I just need someone to be right and that information is out there. And so it's like when you look at I always reference you're in the Phoenix market like my boy Tommy is like that is the definition of having it dialed. Like
I talked to him on Friday.
to the
It was
max of any systems training operations. If you guys haven't heard of him, Tommy Mello, check him out. It's like Tommy is the one who did it the right way in a garage door installation. It's like the smallest niche out of you put 50 home service industries in a room, it's one of the smallest ones. Took it as big as most companies will take the big boys, the roofing, the solar, the HVAC, the like that type of stuff. And he just did it by being a savage.
Yeah, and it's funny though. I was talking to him on Friday. Coincidentally, it's funny you bring it up. When he's talking about like growing it and all of that, it's again, it's two things the entire time. It's stop telling me the top line number, tell me the profit. Like every single time, like when you get in the room with those guys, and I tweeted this the other day, when you get in the room with the guys who have built the stuff and it's now public because a lot of them sell for, nine figures, whatever it is, they have the social proof. They talk about two things every time. They never talk about top line, ever.
Doesn't matter.
They're talking about profit,
Yeah.
which is like side note.
Wish you would have told me that however many years ago.
Right, right.
Like,
Which
yeah.
like side note, the smaller the business and like the more the person's trying to pretend, the telltale sign is they talk about revenue. Like every time. Every time. So he talked about profit. Like, and I was even in the frame that I was in, maybe I was like a little bit insecure, like trying to like, posture a little bit because I'm talking to a guy that I've like read his book and stuff like that, right? Like he asked what we do. And I said, like, oh, at Christmas lights, we did like 800,000 last year. And he was like, profit? And I was like, no. And even like in that moment, maybe it was insecurity, maybe it was everyone being a little vulnerable here. I was like probably trying to spit out an impressive number.
Of course.
Right? But like ironically, like even at that number, they're doing that in a day, maybe, like maybe a couple days.
Oh, a day.
Yeah,
and just revenue.
Yeah, it just like so it's like, dude, what are we doing, Steve? So that was one that I thought was really interesting. The other one is he talks about talent, 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 talent.
Dude, he bought an apartment complex. This was like 7 years ago or something. We were down there. He bought an apartment complex. Him and Bree are living in it, and it's a apartment that he built to fly people from across the country to live there to be able to go to the training facility that he built. I'll let Tommy tell his own story, but like the big check didn't happen until the last couple of years. Like this had been going on over and over and over and getting it right and looking at it and picking it apart. And you look at that winner's circle that those people surround themselves in. It's the experts, it's the people that have been doing it for 30 years. And it's like you're not reinventing the wheel. It's the math, the discipline, the numbers, the hiring, the profit. Like,
Yeah, I'm curious, like just again, now that in this last 6 months, I've started to have conversations with guys like that, which is very cool. It's very like educational. I frame it in the same way we're having the conversation. Like I want to learn from the guys that are way further along. Uh, it's really interesting when you hear those guys because almost every single one of them talks about mentorship, coaching, something that they had. And like, have you ever seen like the midwit meme where it's like a chart and it's like there's a guy who's like basically like brain dead on the left side and then there's like the Jedi is on the right and in the middle it's like an angry person. And so it talks about like people who pay for coaching is like the dumbest people in the world and then like the smartest people in the world. And the people who say like coaching and mentorship is stupid is the people in the middle who like think they're smarter than they are or anything else. But it's funny, like I talk to all of these guys, they talk about like, oh, I pay for info, I read books all the time, I pay for, mentorship, I pay for whatever else. Did you pay any way for like info, coaching, anything on your run up?
Like I did an interview at the end of last year where we totaled it up, and like I've spent more than $1 million in the past 3 years on consulting, coaching, group stuff. And it's not like, oh, I'm going to pay this money and there's going to be a magical answer. It's like, what room can I just pay in to be around people that have just had the same level of problems that I'm solving? Because that's all life is. Like, you got your book, you go through chapters, those chapters are months or years or whatever it is, but like, if you're an entrepreneur, you're just in the business of solving problems. And that whole thing about like starting off and it's lonely and it's hard and you just want people to relate to or share your numbers with or whatever, if you don't maintain that, it just gets lonelier. Cause like, God forbid you start like making some money or growing. It's like, it's just less relatable to like the people. Some of you that have been in the industry you're in for 5 or 10 years, think about the people you might have met like 10 years ago, and maybe your business grew a little bit more, but like you guys were boys at like the trade shows or going, and you just like don't have that much in common anymore. It's the same thing of like, it's our responsibility, if you want to grow, to just get around more people that have the same level of problems. So from, oh, man, it's all really predictable. I mean, you get around people that are doing it at whatever level, and they're doing the same shit. There's some coaching, there's some health, there's some wellness, there's some meditation, recovery, just like all the shit to deal with. What's the like heavy is the crown? But the coaching, the mentoring, I'm not saying go spend 5, 6, 7 figures on a coach tomorrow because people
No.
are saying coaching works. It's like there is so much information at our fingertips and groups and stuff. And like, I had a coaching group I was in almost 4 years ago that was like really expensive. It was like 10 G's a month or something. And I learned a lot about myself. But what you'll find is with these groups, like the group is kind of like a reflection of the person running it. And so I had like some learning experiences with some of these groups. I had some people I got introduced to that were in like smaller things, but any of that like YPO, I think is another one, like YE, young entrepreneurs, all these acronyms of these
Hmm.
coaching groups and stuff. I would suggest anyone that's not doing any level, just look local. Like there
Mm.
are these groups and organizations, EO, YO, these acronyms that have been around 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And depending on like your group in whatever location, they have these things in Denver, Dallas, all the way down to like Mena, Arkansas, of just like business owners meeting up to go through shit like this. And a lot of people I found when I start talking about this stuff just haven't experienced any of it. Like mentor, coach, like I don't even know where to start. I get some guy online telling me I should be working out more, or some other guy that's like yelling at me, or some. There's so many of these groups out there if you look for them, or just post on Facebook in one of the Facebook groups. Like who's in a coaching group that they've got something from, who's from
Yeah.
whatever. It's essential that if you want to get better, you're exposing yourself to information you don't have.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like the other side too is like yes, you get the tactical information from some sort of learning community, whatever else. But the other side for me is like I'm nowhere near a million in coaching, but I've paid a pretty penny for
Yeah.
where I'm at in life. Like probably ones where my peers will be like, "What the hell are you doing?
Choke.
Sounds like a
Like, yeah,
ripoff."
this
Yeah,
30, 40, 50, like that.
easily,
Totally, dude. It's out
easily.
there for sure.
And the other thing outside of tactical XYZ, you should do this, you should not do this, is like, dude, that conversation I had last Friday when I just had 30, 45 minutes in proximity with dudes who I speak in seven figures, they speak in nine, 10.
Mhm.
Like truly, like these guys are talking about $1 billion opportunities.
Absolutely.
And like this in 5 years, 10 years is gonna be billion. And like my frame, because the people that I'm mostly surrounded with are 7-figure out. That's the world I'm in right now. And it's like you get proximity to these guys that they think the same way you do. They want to build something, they want to build whatever. They just speak in 8 figures. They speak in 9 figures. And like their problems are just 9 figure problems. But at the end of the day, they were building at a 7 figure pace and a 6 figure pace at one point too.
I think there's a level of accountability that people got to like look in the mirror and ask themselves truly, like, do you want those problems? Because I think a lot of people like say they do because it sounds good, like, or it would feel good, but you don't like at all.
Yes. So when people are in Home Service Accelerator, we've had this conversation a few times on the group calls. Is like, no, what do you like? Define what you want from this. Define it. Don't say like, oh, I want to just be rich. No, like, define it. Like, define it. Do you want to take a vacation twice a year? Okay. Do you want to stay at the Four Seasons with your wife and your kids?
Yeah.
Do you want to fly first class to the Four Seasons with your wife and kids? Do you want to fly private to a private place with your wife and kids and your friends and pay for your mom and dad? Like, define it. Because like like when I remember I worked at Paycom and I sat in like a sales meeting and we had a goal setting thing with my manager,
Yeah.
and I sat around in this room, and I think I was like 23, 24 at the time. They were like goal setting. They said like, what's your 1 year goal, your 5 year goal, your 10 year goal, your 20 year goal? And when I said my 20, I said like, I want to be a billionaire. And I was like 23 years old. I want to be a billionaire. I don't necessarily think that I want to be a billionaire anymore now that I see what
Do
billionaire.
you know how many billionaires are in the United States?
Yes,
350.
very few,
Like,
very
like
few.
the NBA. It's like making it.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's like, and so what's funny is like that was me less educated on defining the terms.
Sure.
Like I'm happy with building. Like now the process, it's the game. It's
Yeah.
not like the tangible number comes and like that's like long, like obviously goal setting, whatever else. But like for me, it's become like I am in this to build a wagon, but like that I want to be a billionaire was so like uneducated, like so now if it happens, fantastic, but like that's not the goal. The goal is like stretch goal here. This is the milestone. This is the milestone because this is the game of business that I'm playing right now. And that's kind of frame changed a little bit. Has that changed for you in like 10, 15 years?
It's where I go to that, like, the story I tell about the ocean. It's just like, yeah, I could go get it all, but like, why? Like, what for anyone that can relate to like not being totally like fulfilled by their accomplishments? Cause like I've gone through phases of my career where I definitely thought it was just like all financial success. And then just like anyone who's ever told you like you get some money, you're like, not like, oh my God, this is so hollow, but you're like, huh, like I thought that would feel a little. You're kind of like, what's next? Like, what's more? Like, what's the thing? And it's just like, get religious on people, but it's like sometimes you got a God sized hole that like just nothing you put in it is going to fit until you get right with yourself, whether it's spiritual, the great pumpkin, the spaghetti monster, like whatever it is. It's so easy at these times to go like, okay, what's your why? Like, what do you really do? My kids, I want more time. But then like, are your actions, do you actually have goals set to like achieve that? I say like stop and smell the flowers, right? Like things are going good, and as bad as it might feel, well, for years in my career, it was like I didn't even know flowers were growing. Like I'm just like go, 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 go. And yeah, like we're winning, we're learning, we're losing all this stuff. I always looked at it like I'm a problem solver to a fault. I'm not looking or celebrating all the things that are going right. I'm like, what's wrong? How can I fix it? On to the next. Like, but when you look at as accountable as you can hold yourself right now, it's like, why did you start this thing? What are you actually trying to do? And put the goals down. Like, I want to fly first class twice a year with my family to go to Disney. I got a 2 year old and a 4 year old that I want to do this. Like, for anyone I didn't share, I have 5 kids. And like, didn't grow up with my dad in the house a ton. Like, he was around, but like, if you would have told me I was going to have 5 kids, I wouldn't have believed you. We just really like to practice. And like,
Fertile King,
hey,
Fertile
hey, we're
King.
doing all right. But like, the idea is, it's just like objections in a sales call. There's not that many. So like, what's your why? I get it. I want more time. I didn't like my boss. I thought I could do it better. I want to be with my wife or my husband more. I want to spend more time with my kids. Like, I want to make more money. There's not that many things of like, okay, we get your why. It's like when you see these people that get to these positions, the Tommies, the eight-figure people, some of the people you're doing Christmas like for, the athletes, the politicians,
Mm.
the thing is like, they just made a decision to lock the fuck in. And what that means is the math, the hiring, the board. Because now, instead of your day being this like flustered, like, all right, we're going to figure it out and then we're going to get there, it's like, I'm actually intentionally doing these things towards the day and holding the people that I hired accountable to meet these goals. Because if we did it, I own it. I'm going to win a little bit. But we've like incentivized everyone getting here together because that's how all this shit works.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's and on your run up, how often do you think that that's changed? So like what the goal
It's
is?
the glass ceilings of what like you're capable of. So like you gotta give up bad stuff. You gotta replace it with good stuff. I'm not gonna tell everyone like every vice you have to get rid of, or you have to look at this like dramatic change. But what I will tell you is like for me, the last 3.5 years, what we built at Dope, I would not have been capable of doing had I not given up some behaviors and some habits from how reactive I am to how I communicate to how I helicopter into things to some of my personal habits and some of the like the disciplines that I have now that I just didn't spend a ton of time on before where it's like I'll tell you this, my definition of success hasn't changed that much because of the times it hasn't changed. I used to think my definition of success was I can say no to anything and I can basically do what I want to. Just like I am at a spot with my businesses, with my time, with my stuff I can go on a vacation, I can stay home for a day, I can but then I found like that wasn't it. It was like, okay, dude, you can kind of do what you want to, what you've kind of been doing your whole life to a certain point. Being an
Mm.
entrepreneur is like my way, I'm gonna figure this out. That wasn't it. My definition of success really changed with my third child turning 2. And I remember talking to an older friend of mine who's now Rich has got to be close to his like 70s. But he's like, Dave, what's one of the most precious moments that you feel like in your life during the day? And I was like, it's that walk in the door, all the kids run to dad, and you're just like nothing matters. That moment right there, the purest moment of like my day. I had to sit down, journal on this, think about it. Was like that instance of the heart to heart. Nipsey is my 5-year-old. When
Hmm.
I have my like, he comes, he hugs, I feel that. It's like anything during the day, good, bad, I'm in that moment. I am more present there than any other time. And so my definition of success changed. It was like, what if, because of how I operate, because of how I communicate, because of my actions, that everyone that depend on me, that we loved each other. That moment that I had with him, that I could have down to like a member of my family, one of my employees, one of my friends from high school that I haven't seen in a million years, that like I could just have that energy. Well, how do you do that? Or I just have a little more intention around my day and how I operate and how accountable I hold myself and not being a fucking slack sniper, not being a hothead in the morning
Slack
that's
sniper.
like on, like going, just like all the stuff, like what got us here won't get us there. And that's easy to say or read the book about it or do
Hmm.
whatever. But the accountability of like, what do they say? It's like 100 days to do a habit. You know, you spend like 8 minutes a day, and within a certain amount of time, you're an expert because you spend
Right.
100 hours or whatever that is.
Right.
Well, for me, the changing of habits, you decide like I'm going to try to be a little less reactive. Or I'm going to try to not like be such a hothead. Or I'm going to try to not like when I get going fast, I'm going to grab like it's the pattern interruption. It's anything you do in your life. It could be a vice. It could be the nicotine pouches. It could be going to have a drink. It could be not going to the gym. It could be like whatever it is. That ginger ale you feel creeping up when you know you're not about to make a good decision, whatever, however big or small, you're just like, I don't know. Like that.
Hmm.
If you just catch that, if you just recognize the pattern that leads towards the behavior, and you just grab yourself quick.
Or like what's externally happening that's why you're making that decision. Like what's like, you're stressed in the day and then it's like, oh wow, like I had an urge to, and this isn't me personally, but like hard day at work. Why do I have the urge to have three old fashions
Sure,
today?
whatever it is, like give it your thing. It's like, what about the behavior that's very comfortable? That's just leading up to that. Like you get all wound up and you and your husband or wife work together. And you know when you're stressed out, you're going to like kind of take it. Like the accountability around just like, I know that when this happens, this is what I'm going to do. And what if every time you felt it going there, you just stopped, took a deep breath, and was like, I just didn't continue whatever action was going to lead
Yeah.
toward. And it's I always like, it's working out, it's growing a plant, it's dating, it's the phase of doing something until it becomes a habit. So have I had my definition of success change on the roller coaster of where it is that we're weekly, monthly, quarterly, like whatever it is? What I found is like, I hold myself very accountable for trying to contribute on the highest level at like what I'm good at or what I like doing. And because I have a little experience now, I've been doing a lot of this for like 15 years, I have gotten better at delegating because I'm a control freak like everyone else. But a wise man told me to have real control is to give up all control.
Mm.
And what that means is, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna give up control. No, you've put enough time, thought, energy, and effort into something going as well as it possibly could because you laid out your expectations. What's communication? It's saying what I expect from someone and then like, can we get there to where we're both on the same page? As simple as that can be made. But if you can just be like, to give up control, you just have to figure out how you want something to go. Put the amount of work, effort, planning, SOPs, timing, whatever, and give it away.
And then it just becomes math again.
You don't need a rock star to do that.
Right.
That's the thing. It doesn't need to be this ace in the hole, only person that could do it like you could. You can lay out what the task is, and to have control of that task, do it yourself for as long as enough. You got to paint the room before you hire the painter with everything.
Right.
Sometimes a couple coats. But it's like, if you really look at how much time do you invest in setting the expectations of having things go the way you want them to? And then depending on the phase of your business that you're in, like being realistic with yourself of like, how much do you have to be in control or have your hands on this one item? Is it hiring? Is it training? Is it sales? Is it customer service? Nothing's going to go right. We're in home service. We wake up every day with a level of unsolvable problems. That job for 2 weeks ago, you thought they weren't going to call back? They did. The lady this morning that you parked your car in front of her driveway that she said you could, she didn't want you to. The way that the fucking customer's cat looked at him in the morning, so they called the property manager to complain that you didn't put the notice on the door that you put for it. It's all coming. Can't stop it every day you signed up for it. How accountable can you hold yourself with dealing with those tasks and with delegating those tasks and being the owner, the manager, the operator that can like create the peaceful, safe environment to deal with the results when it doesn't go wrong? That's how you get to the 8, the 9 figures or whatever, is just like giving up control of the things in the business because you've set the right expectations by communicating how things should go, but then being in a spot good enough with yourself to the journey. Like, where is this gone? How do you deal with it? Is just like, you got to be able to deal with more and more things going wrong all the time because it'll force you to set the expectations, the communication, the SOPs, so they go as right as they can. I mean, we'll be in here for 2 hours when we're done. How many phone calls have I got? How many
I forgot to put mine on
how many
silent. I can
text
feel
messages?
it
How many
buzzing.
things?
Yeah.
There's 85 people out there. I'm not going to say every single one of them knows what to do every minute of the day and just has it covered, but like, as we've grown, we've taken the responsibility of just putting the things in place that allow this thing to operate. Like we talked when I was down there, I just got back from Puerto Rico for 5 weeks. 85 employees, was down there for 5 weeks with my family, no nanny. And I'm not on vacation. Like
And the thing is running.
it's where, I mean, it's going in the right direction. And like,
Yeah. Gosh, it's so much good
yeah,
pieces in
sorry
there.
to like
No.
just vomit, but
No,
it's
dude,
like,
it's so impactful because people don't get a ton of access to like people that have gone through the exact stages. So it's incredibly impactful. You hit on one thing though that I wrote down that I wanted to go back to. You said like getting better at like stopping and smelling the flowers in the original moments. And like I don't know if it's just like perfect timing, whatever else, but I went on the Owner Ops podcast last week, this guy named Austin Gray. And he asked me questions that very few people ask, where he's talking about like the early stages of the business and everything else. Somehow we got to like my home service accelerator guys and like people that maybe spoken to me for a while
Yeah.
know that like my story's not some like boohoo sad story, whatever else. My story is like the like I'm a radical personal responsibility guy. So like 5 years ago, checked into a psychiatrist's office, got thrown on some Wellbutrin, like antidepressants,
Yeah.
whatever else. Took them for like 3 days because I was fat, I was vaping a lot, I was
Yeah.
drinking, like not overly drinking, but just like being a
Sure.
fat piece of shit.
Sure.
And I started talking to him about it, and I said like 3, 4 days into being on the antidepressants, they take like weeks to kick in. I was like, what the hell am I doing? And I was reading Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules of Life book at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And it was all about just like imperfect action will trump like having the perfect plan. Just go do something. I don't care if it's the end. So not like overly dramatic visual. I threw the antidepressants away. Just like never let them kick in.
Great.
Just rocked it.
That's awesome.
Started the one of the business. It was either Junk or Christmas at the time. It's so long ago, whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember in that stage, I would listen to guys who were successful. All I would do all day was listen to podcasts because there's nothing that I wanted more in that moment than to just be successful. And I would listen to guys like sitting in the chair like you are, sitting in the chair like I am, sitting in the chair like every other guy we talked about in here already. Talk about it's just about hard work and it's just about whatever. And I would get so mad
Yeah.
because I would be sitting there like, I want to work. Like, I don't even know where to channel it. Like, I would get so mad.
I can relate.
And
Yeah.
I remember sitting there
Yeah.
like, it's not just hard work. Like, it's not. And I would get so mad because, and I said, like, if I ever got in the position, like, I wrote this stuff down 5 years ago when I was like, dude, I was obese. I was so angry. Every day
Yeah.
I woke up, I was just mad.
Yeah.
Just mad that life wasn't where I wanted to be. And I remember like saying, if I ever get the opportunity, even with like a few people in the microphone, to just be like, I remember that stage
Hell
of
yeah.
just like everyone sitting there with, people sitting there with, fancy cars and fancy watches telling me it's all about hard work. I'm sitting like, mother, I want to work. Like there's nothing, I just don't know where to put it. I don't know the vision. I don't know whatever else. And we were on the plane last night and I was like recapping the podcast and I was sitting there like, I'm 5 years later, I'm by no means, this is my frame. I'm not trying to act like I have it all figured out. This is the frame of that I'm in. If you told me 5 years ago that like, hey, you're gonna dial in, you're gonna start a Christmas light business, you're gonna start a junk removal business, you're gonna whatever. Eventually, you're gonna get to the point where you have a community of a few hundred people that like you've built on the
To
internet
do,
to
right?
do whatever to like help fix this. And I was sitting on the flight with Jake, my videographer. Like we're sitting there, like, and you guys following me know I'm like the least flashy person ever. We're flying first class to meet Dave and like film a podcast. Like I'm getting on a plane to go talk to a guy that I've looked up to for years in his business. And I remember thinking like, dude, it went back to that quote, like, you overestimate what you can do in a year and you underestimate what you can do in a couple.
Yeah.
And like thankfully, like the visual of that for me is like I looked terrible. I sounded terrible. If you see videos of me back then, you can see it on my face. Like
Dude, same.
you see
Like,
photos of me.
same.
And like I'm
Like,
not sitting here saying I
yeah.
made it now. I'm sitting here like talking to the person because like I see it in the comments. Like I see the guys in the comments, like
Yeah.
the anger that they have. Like every once in a while, when you say like, "Oh, we did this and it worked," it's like that doesn't work for me. Like it's like this like anger, and
You
it's
can
like
feel it though.
because
We've
I
been
was
there.
because I was there.
Amen, dude.
And so
Amen.
when you said the stop and smell the flowers, it's like last night was like one of the first times in a long time I sat in there and was just like, I've become like Jake's become one of my best friends. I get to fly with him all over. Like we get to crush beers in the airport lounge and go
Yeah.
interview people. Like this is fun to me. And this is all I wanted 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's like, at what stage in your business or in your life did you start to like get better at smelling the flowers? And like, what tactically can you tell to somebody that's like, even if the stretch goal is 10 mil, 100 mil, a billion, whatever it is,
Right.
how do you get better at it in the front end?
You got to be clear. So for me, it was like I I don't want to impose anything. Like do what you want to. I want the world to like live behind their wall and do what they want to. And being happy is hard enough. For me, I was living a life that I wasn't like super proud of. Like on the road, late nights, drinking, just the stuff. And like let's just say without telling all the stories, like jeopardizing everything I loved on like a very regular basis.
Yep.
And I had to get to a point where I was just like, so hollow with it. I stopped drinking. I don't have like a date or anything, but it's 3.5 years, something like that. And for me, I look back and I watch those same videos. I've been on the internet for 10 plus years. You can find them.
Hmm.
Big, baggy eyes, miserable, up late, making great decisions all the time. And just like, I look at that reflection of myself and I'm the same dude inside. I'm not some like changed human, but
Right.
at the same time, like, for me to get the clarity I needed to focus on what I actually cared about, that was so cloudy for me. Like, I look back, even at some of like my darkest times, like, I had the things that I wanted then, but that wasn't what I really wanted. It was like I had so much to prove to a version of myself that I hadn't even really gotten to know yet, that it was just like, dude, it was some hard work. It was like some deep, and I won't go all hippie, spiritual, woo woo, but like anyone that just gets into, any level of like meditation, more of the, I don't know, what do you call it? Eastern medicine, that
I
type,
mean, meditation can be prayer if you're a Christian,
whatever your
whatever it is.
thing
Yeah.
is to go
It doesn't
there.
have to be like some Hindu Buddhist woo
So
woo stuff.
for anyone that follows Jesse Itzler,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
so Jesse's coaching group I signed up for 3 years ago, got to know Jesse very well. And again, like, I don't know how to ask someone to be a mentor or whatever, but like if I hit Jess right now, like he would answer, we could talk. Like we've been able, and there was a course, like you got to pay for this stuff. But like it wasn't just meeting Jesse and his group that really helped me grow. It was going back to the questions about the coaching and the mastermind, because it all like really ties together here. It's like the guys that I met in that group, some of my best friends in the world right now, over the past 3.5, 4 years, there was a barrier point of entry to what you could like pay to get in there. So,
Hmm.
but like that's part of with these groups.
Yeah.
Don't overextend in a coaching program. Like pay for what you can afford because you're going to be around people that can do the same
Hmm.
thing. I think the clarity that I got around my journey, like, yeah, it was like giving up drinking or some of the old like habits or behaviors, but it was more just like being honest with myself for what I really wanted. And I got really tired chasing something that I knew was possible, but it didn't have an end. And so for me, you know, I just feel very strongly that like before you go help anyone, serve anyone, provide a service, have an employee, do anything, like you got to deal with that person in the mirror. And I just got to a level of accountability. I always consider like myself a pretty like self-aware individual, but I just started to hold myself a little bit more accountable for the behaviors that were really comfortable to me that I was getting the same result from. I think all of us know, maybe are, or have been a version of that, like it's really angry business owner that's just like kind of unapproachable. Nothing's really right. It's always a tornado.
Every prospect's an idiot. Like, there's such an idiot
There's
for
always
not
just
paying.
that verbal talk. Dude, you hit it on the
Yeah.
head. Like we are on that here at Dope. Like you could have the worst interaction. That just that negative talk of like not something's always wrong, but the most simple advice that I could give. Those mornings when you wake up and you just know. Like it was a customer service thing from the night before. You had a bad dream about something. It's financially tough. Like you're just in that fucking mode that morning where you know like you're gonna murder something. Is like on those mornings, you gotta just pull your phone out in your notes section and put 5 things down you're grateful for. And I know it's corny. I know it's like okay, dude, great, but it's like I swear to God, that will develop the habit where you start doing it every day.
And it's funny, that's the hardest day to do it. It's so easy to do that when you're in a good mood and like
And
things
it's
are
just like when
rocking.
you want to go for a run on a beautiful day and it's nice out, like motherfucker, wait till it's snowy. Go when it's raining. Go. It's that. It's the. It's not even necessarily training the muscle because you have to untrain the comfortable thing that gets you to the spot where you're just not the best version of yourself. And I'll kind of tie this together with like, so my definition of success, like I said, is like that the people that depend on me love me. That I
Hmm.
love the people that depend on me, and that like that's where we're at. And when I think about it's the work that goes into being that version of myself, especially when it's the hardest. And just that accountability. And I know it's, oh, you're there, it's easy, it's nice, it's whatever, but it's not. It's the work right now. The Steve 5 years ago vaping, plowing McDonald's, doing whatever you're doing. It's that like when you are at your angriest or your maddest, it's just like that's when you write down what you actually want. And that's when you just hold yourself accountable for the decisions you have to make to just do that work to
And
get there.
and in that moment, if there's one person listening to this in that moment, it feels so stupid and pointless and dumb and phony at that stage.
Day after day.
Like
Like
when you're doing it, it's very easy when things are rocking.
imposter syndrome, the
Yeah.
whole thing. You're not, but you're not until you are.
And then it's you're not special. The thing that you're thinking, like the anger, the disgust in yourself, the like you're so energetic on one side, but you're so incredibly lethargic and tired because you haven't gotten the positive feedback loop to get you going at all at that stage. Like it is the hardest to do it at that point.
It's where to find the people that are going through the same thing as you, because that's what you got to lean on. Then that part gets easier. It's hard. I suck going through it. Like there are Facebook communities for industries that you could literally just be a more active poster, go to a trade show, meet some people, do some networking. Like I'm not going to downplay that it's not work and money, but that part is very solvable.
Hmm.
It's just the discipline. And the beautiful part, you get to decide. If you're having an off day, you don't have to do anything. I don't know about anyone watching this. I don't know about you, but for me, when I know I'm supposed to finish something and I don't like that feeling as much as the feeling I like when I say I'm going to do something and I do it. So how much do you not want to feel like a piece of shit? Or whatever you go to when you don't do that is like, this shit just isn't that hard.
And you know what's interesting about that, like that feeling you get where you know you're supposed to do something, you don't do it, and you feel like shit. The flip side of that is like that's like a muscle that if you don't exercise and you keep not keeping promises to yourself, it gets easier to not keep the promise to yourself. Like eventually
Every
that
day.
it's like your conscience. Like you know your parents teach about your conscience. Like
Yep.
you do like you know you lie once, it's easier to lie the second time. Like you start hammering down your conscience.
Yep.
It's the same thing with like that discipline.
100%.
It's like if I told myself I was going to do something today, I told a customer I was going to get him a quote today, and then I didn't get it to him by the end of the day. Like you keep doing that, eventually it's just like you
But you keep
desensitize.
doing it and then you create that environment, that mentality, that people around you see how you work. It's another problem you got to solve later, but it's like, you create the standard for how you operate. And it's like, again, I'll say things like this is easy or it's solvable or it's whatever. It's only hard until it's not.
The brutal reality visually is it's like and it's cruel that this is how the human mind works. But it's like it's the absolute hardest in the beginning when you don't have any tangible results. Like
100%.
it's like almost like pushing a boulder up a mountain and then like you get over the hard hump and it gets a little bit easier. But it's like you know, we sit here now, we talk about like you just got to do this, you got to do this. Like the cool part, like just take like weight loss. You know how much easier it is to work out 50 pounds less than I was at the peak?
A lot.
Do you know how hard it was to like go out and do a run when you're 5'11", 6 foot with shoes and on dating apps, 5'11", 5'11", and like running a 12-minute mile feeling like you're gonna die
Dude.
versus like, and that's the cruel part about, so it's the same thing in business. You know how hard it is to get up and go when like every check and payment that's coming in is going straight back into the bank account to pay bills. You know how much easier it is to be excited and to come to work when you're printing money? Like it's just easier. That's the cruel reality. And so like for people listening, like the same thing you're talking about, like the hardest part is getting it started. Like that's
Yeah.
the hardest part. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, when the family, like you talk about your family so much, it's like you've clearly curated and built this world for yourself where like clearly like the relationship with your family is so important to you and I would imagine they reciprocate it to you. It's like if it wasn't that and your kids at some point didn't look up to you as a father for whatever reason or your wife was like you're kind of being a piece of shit,
Yep.
starting those habits there and like doing it is so hard because
It
you don't have any proof that the self work whatever else is going to help.
you're just you said something a second ago about pushing boulders. A dear friend and a mentor of mine that I actually had to return a call to, he was called me when we were in my office, was like, his name's Scott, said, Dave, business is nothing but being in the business of moving boulders all day. You gotta like nudge this a little bit. You gotta nudge. I'm trying to build Stonehenge. It doesn't happen overnight. Like
No.
the idea of it's the again, I relate a lot to the weight training or the running stuff is like just it's not setting a goal and celebrating the goal. It's the lessons, it's the pain, it's the stuff going up to the goal. There's this thing on Instagram. It was all the actors. It was like Tom Hanks and Robert De Niro and Shia LaBeouf and like a bunch of them talking. I think it was Robert De Niro was like, you just got to hold yourself accountable because like nothing lasts forever. You're gonna have a good quarter. You're gonna close a good deal. You're gonna be rolling it in every level of the journey. Like you're gonna, and it's that discipline that you lay out to maintain when it's not good. Not every season is a good one, but it's like, how well do you think your business would run if everyone felt your stress all the time?
Not very well.
And how do you think that your business used to run when everyone felt your stress all the time?
Not well.
There are times right now in the past, Dope is going in its 5th year. There are times in the past 4.5 years, like recently, past 6 months, that I have allowed people that directly report to me, other people like feel some of my stress. It's just one of the things that I like really am accountable for because like that's my pain. You don't get any of that. My job is to create the most secure, safe environment. We have the best training to show up and do the things that we hired you to do. I'm buying a third of your day. Let's make sure you know how to do it and how to do it and that we can do the best. Because, like, I've hired hundreds of people. I've never hired someone with the idea that I was ever going to fire them.
Oh yeah.
Now, do
That
I think
sounds.
every single person is with me with everything I do for their whole career? Of course not. But it's like when it comes down to it, most of the time, when you're an employer and you get rid of someone, you're doing it not because it's your fault. Like, they're not doing their job. They're not showing up. They're not da 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 da. And it just goes back full circle to all this is like, how accountable are you holding yourself to create the environment that's like, can you just literally ask any single person in your business? I don't care if you got 2 employees, 20, 200, whatever. Could you walk up to anyone in your company right now and be like, what do you think the top 3 things in your role are right now? And have those be the exact answer that yours are.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that radical accountability too as an owner. Like this is like radical accountability. Like I'm just turned 30. We got some guys in the group that are like in their low 20s. So there's a frame there that like in this room, no one's looking up to me. In that room, maybe some people are,
Sure.
but it's like, I talk to these guys about like the sooner you can just tell yourself that everything is your fault, find a way in the business to make it your fault, you will be like, it's such a freeing feeling
Yeah.
because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that employee sucks. Sure, maybe they're an asshole. You hired them.
Why? Yeah, exactly. Just
You
what
tr-
is the what led
you
to
you
this?
trained them,
Amen.
like whatever else. And so then it's I we've talked about like I had a bad hire, we'll say,
Sure.
in a leadership position,
It's happened to the best of
and
us.
it happened. It kind of all came to a head when my brother died, and like so I went to Seattle, dealt with it, booking a crematorium for a 30-year-old,
Yeah.
not parents burying their 30-year-old, not exactly like how it's supposed to
Ideal.
work.
Yeah.
Happened in like mid-October. Christmas light business. Not a good time. Business fell apart and that was like the best possible 3 months ever for my life, but it felt like the worst ever. So like obviously
Yeah.
this is talking about self-help. So best 3 months, not because he died, terrible. Self-help wise, what happened was like that slammed me like face first with like, hey, those 50 customers that are motherfucking you on the phone because you took their deposits,
And
they've been working with you for 2, 3 years, and whatever systems you set up, they don't care that your brother died. They don't know your brother died.
yeah.
Like all they know is that they paid you and like your product that you sold them sucks now.
Yeah.
And like if you're with your family and like my mom and dad and like my close friends are like, oh, it's so sad. I was like, you like it's so hard for you. Like you're really going through it. And it's like that phone's still ringing. Customers are still pissed. Like we cannot go tell them whatever. And it's that moment of like life was so objectively to the outside, radically unfair in
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah.
But as a business owner, you go, oh, well, still my fault.
What'd you
Still my
what'd
fault.
you sign up for?
I signed up for this and I didn't build the systems the way they should have been. It was not Steve proof. The business was not Steve proof. I was taking on all of the stress, everything else. And then something broke. In this case, it was a thing out of my control. That's not my fault. But the falling apart of the business is the paying rent on a credit card for 9 months because that's my fault.
Yeah.
That's my fault. And so I think it's really interesting to even hear like when you talk about it at that side, it's like finding responsibility, even in that sense with like employees, everything else. Like it all comes back to you as the owner, and you can't like throw that feeling and like that responsibility onto an employee because they're not the owner.
Not until you have them in a position that you're on the same page that they're accountable for what their job is. There are people that I've talked to that have like hundreds of employees that haven't had to fire someone in years because through the reporting, the monthlies, the quarterlies, the stoplights, the anyone on EOS, like it's people are actually coming into meetings like this isn't a good. You're right. I can't do this.
Oh, interesting. So it's
Like
like they're just it's like it's cleaning itself
our
up.
expectations set. I mean, like, it's like we're meeting every week to talk about you're doing your job. You have a scorecard. Is it more yellow and red or is it more green and yellow? Like
That's
I'm a stoplight person.
that's so funny when you were leading with that. I thought you were going to say like they're just so good at hiring that
No,
no one ever leaves. They
it's
retain
nothing. It has
100%.
nothing to do with that. They just don't have to fire anyone because the accountability is there in a place that it's just like, yeah, we showed up here. This is the fourth week in a row that I can actually tell you I'm not doing my job. You're right. I don't have any more reasons around it. You've coached me. You've helped me. You have the systems. You have the Steve, I'm here to say like I can't do this. Clearly on paper, you're right. This is not a good fit, but it's not the other way around. And like there's a lightness to that, but there's also like a beauty to it of just like that. Again, radical accountability starts with the person that went and got the EIN.
Right.
It
Right.
has to roll downhill a little bit, but like how much you let. I have been in groups, as I'm sure people watching or listening, with business owners doing 10, 20, 30, 40 million, and they are miserable on their third marriage, hothead, in their private jet with their rollie on, pissed. Saw it. I don't want it. Like, I don't, I am hard enough on myself all day that the idea of like my happiness being dependent on like the last deal, the last customer service thing, a down week, a down, I have as much control of those things as I give them.
And then on the other side, there's a random Chuck in the truck who's never hired an employee, who's out there getting it, doing quotes on paper and pen, and he is living and thrilled.
Ecstatic, and I want nothing more. Like, just find it for you.
Yeah.
Like, I was okay. We do some cool stuff here at Dope, like employee morale culture. So, like, I don't know if he's out there today, if you guys saw him in the parking lot, but everyone in the company's car is getting detailed over the next 2 weeks. Like the interior of their car. There's a
Oh,
little
that's sick.
station set up, right? Just like cool stuff or whatever. I was talking to this guy yesterday. I'm like, man, you're busting your ass, dude. I see you getting it here by himself, banging.
You are a whale of a customer for him.
I
You are life changing if that's an owner op.
it is an owner op.
You are
We were
changing.
very intentional around that.
You are changing that
We
dude's
did it. We
life.
did it 2 years ago. This dude showed up with like 7 crackheads. I'm like, oh, some people have change in batteries in their car, and we can't really have. It's like,
Cat converters
so
getting
no, but
pulled.
we intentionally, as leadership, went out, like found a couple guys, like got not interviewed them, but
Yeah.
we didn't make them do a one-way video.
Yeah, yeah.
But like,
I hear you. I hear you.
but I'm talking to this guy, and I'm just like, so man, like, how'd you get into this? Like, you're clearly a hard worker. Like, what are you up to? It's like, man, I was a welder for NASA. And I'm welding, and I thought welders made a lot more money, but he's like, you start at $20 an hour, and then you go up, and he's like, I got to where I was making like 120 G's a year as a welder for fucking spacecrafts. Fascinating. It's like, so I knowing the industry, I don't think you're clearing a $120 doing this. He's like, no, dude, I had my first kid. I felt like I was breathing on all these fumes. I was gonna get cancer from a thing, and he's
Mm.
like, I just know how to grind. And then he's like, I'm in a space station all day in a warehouse, no sun, no nothing, any of it. He's like, I just realized that like if I could set my own schedule, go out, detail 4 or 5 cars a day, maybe three some days, whatever, make 70 grand a year right now, dude. And I am fucking ecstatic.
I'm home every
And I
night with the
saw it in his
kids.
face was just like, I get it. And like for me, I just remember when I was scaling my home service business, I was like, I understand the level of commitment that I had to make. I haven't set foot in that. We've owned this thing 15 years. I have not set foot in that building in 7 years. I don't know the number of employees. I don't know how many trucks they bought. I was telling you off camera. They bought 3 trucks. I didn't know. Like that's how uninvolved I am with that business. But I remember when we were growing it, it was into the 4th year. I'd come out with like another product. We're doing like Facebook stuff and some like property manager lists for home service people. And I just remember I was like, if I really want to get to where some of the guys that I saw, where they were at, I was like, I got to lock in. And I don't know for how long, But I know until these things are happening completely without my involvement, and it took almost 3 years. I think I can do it again now in like a year and a half. But like, as involved as I was in that business, I was doing sales, I was doing big jobs, I was meeting with the property managers. I was like as involved as you would be as a power washing window cleaning company that like just cracked $1 million. I was that involved. And I was like, I know for me right now, I want to do something else. This is not what my heart is set on. This is not where I'm at. But we built a great business. We have great customers. My brother-in-law is working for us. My wife's involved. Like, I'm not going to close the thing. I was like, I was better than it. Makes great money.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, here are the things that I have to do so I'm not involved in them. So I could let go. And you know what? Those things still go wrong every day. I just have no clue.
It makes sense. This is fire. Okay, so we're coming up on the end, but I want to give just like rapid fire tactical marketing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's go.
let's rip it.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got a home service business. We talk about all the different things. I'm just gonna like speed run this
Let's go.
and say like, let's use dope in every possible capacity we can do.
Cool.
Let's start with let's start with yard signs.
Yeah.
So yard signs, we'll go the item and then the strategy behind it and the
Beautiful.
implementation behind
Yep.
it. Because I don't want to say just go get yard signs because then 1,000 comments are like they don't work. Okay. So yard signs, two different types. Public facing, if you're in one that's like really, really aggressive county ordinances, you go service and then a Google Voice forwarding number. You answer the phone with just like a whatever your name is, just abbreviate it. So if you're Stephen Dave's junk removal, you'd answer SDJ junk removal. Once you find out it's not a Karen or the county, then you just finish the pitch.
Sure.
Dope can do that. Other side,
Yep.
branded yard signs,
Yep.
the ones you put in, like if you're in an area that's like less yard sign strict,
Yeah.
you go branded yard sign, you put your logo on it, whatever else. You can also put that in customers' yards. Tell us about the die cut signs
Yeah.
and why they're worth investing in.
So back to when they used to sell billboards, like you could get a metric of like this many people drive by this billboard on this day, and that's why we
Right.
charge for it.
Right.
Your yard sign doesn't need to be a Picasso. Get over yourself. Like your customers have 100 problems during the day. You solve 4 of them perfectly. Basic yard signs are good for that. And I want to make sure I touch on this. That whole like my county's strict and this that, and the other. Like I've been to jail a couple times for a long time. I've never been to jail off a yard sign. Like calm down. It's going to be okay. If you are using a more like intricate design, whether it's a die cut or just like more of something very designed, I have signs that we put coming out of the gas stations, coming out of Home Depot, Whole Foods, like that type of stuff that is very intentional. Service, phone number, maybe a QR code, maybe. When we get more detailed on those signs, it's like front of the yard, in front of big jobs, other places where like I know they're gonna stay for a little bit. Die cut yard signs were just really hard because you need a $500,000 cutter to do it. Well, I'm an idiot. I bought 3 of them. So like we have dope marketing as die cut yard signs where we can do like your logo, your fat head, the shape of your face, like whatever, at a very comparable price to the other ones. They're not insanely different.
Mm-hmm. So let's frame it. Like if you have a Christmas light company, the sign can literally be in the shape of a Christmas
bulb,
tree.
whatever,
a bulb.
Christmas tree, all that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have a plumbing company, it could be the shape of a wrench.
Whatever it is. Yeah. Now, those are good, but again, like there's a use case for them. If I was a business owner starting out and I made the decision that I'm going to use yard signs to grow my business, I would go out early Saturday morning and I would be coming the freeway exits, especially the ones where you can get stuck twice during the week. I'm putting 2. I'm putting one 100 feet back and one right at the light. Service, phone number, done. Coming out of gas stations, coming out of daycares. One thing, like, it's not really your competition pulling these. It is usually the city, they're cutting grass, they're doing whatever. What you want to find is inside of shopping centers where they have like the Chipotle, the Home Depot, the Chuck's dog food, like that type of shit. The signs inside of those parking lots at like the stop signs, the property managers aren't out pulling those.
Yeah.
Go pull out 25 of those a week.
And like in the islands that people are like parking, like where there's a little tree.
All that, like coming out of the baller neighborhoods where it's not in someone's lawn, but it's in that area. Like you will. We used to have homeowners that would call us like, I cut the number off your yard signs and I left them there. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, great.
Like, okay.
Appreciate it.
Like,
yeah.
But it's intentionality around putting them out in the places where your customers are more likely to be. I really like late Friday night or Saturday morning, because even in those places with the bad ordinances, when you get the home showings and like they have companies that go put out signs over the weekend and pick them back up, sneak yours in next to them.
Yeah.
Put it there for the weekend because they'll see them. They're going through it. So like, I am adamant. This is before I bought a yard sign printer. We grew my home service business with yard signs, and we have tough counties, tough zip codes, blah, 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 all of that. Like, put them out and do them consistently. That is one of the highest lead generation methods that we had starting our business out, was yard signs.
Yep. We had a painter in the middle of Ohio, got up to $40,000 a month off of yard signs, never ran a Facebook ad.
I believe it.
Now, they're very yard sign friendly out there. He'll put a yard sign out and it'll be there a month later.
Well, that's the thing, is like, you got to know your area, but it's like you have 5 fingers on your hand for a reason as a marketer. 4 things that are working, 1 thing that you will replace with one of those 4 at every time. And it's just a cycling. It goes back to more what you're talking, like just tight targeting.
Yep.
Don't go drive around the whole circle of the freeway around your 30-mile radius. Is like, I'm going to put a lot of signs out this weekend, and I'm going to put 25 signs out, 50 signs out in this general area to a somewhat level of like kind of obnoxiousness, to just be like, what happened? I bought 50 signs for $300, whatever it was. And like, what came from that? Because I don't care what service you offer. If you went and put out 50 signs over 3 or 4 days, you will make more than what you paid for those signs.
100%.
Like, I guarantee
it's
you.
the guys that do 15, they get pulled, they wait 3 weeks, they try 10 more, they get upset, they stop. That's the one.
If
that's
you
the
have
time it doesn't
if you
work.
have less jobs than you have time, putting out yard signs strategic. I'm not saying you got to paint the town with 100. Go put out 10, but in like high traffic areas over the weekend where they're going to stay up for a couple days. I guarantee you're going to come in Monday to leads.
And keep doing it.
Same areas. You find the ones that work, you find the ones that don't. We got sneaky. We have like 4 area codes. Like St. Paul is 651, Minneapolis is 652, Western suburbs are 952. We would have the Google tracking number for the area, so we looked more local. Like St. Paul, we use signs with a 651. Minneapolis, we use a 612, like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a hold of you from your yard sign that only has a phone number on it if they don't call the yard sign. You can actually really track this.
Yes.
Like what's working.
Yeah. And then I'm going to address the self-limiting belief. 1-800-GOT-JUNK does yard signs. So unless you're doing high, mid, 9 figures in your business because you think only broke people call yard signs,
you're lying.
You're lying to yourself. Yeah. That is a self-limiting belief. Okay. Moving on. Let's go direct mail.
Yeah.
Okay. Baseline. The one that I think like every single person should listen to this, and I don't even have an affiliate link for you guys. This is just pure, I've used it. Tie the automation to the CRM. At the absolute bare minimum, you should be sending the 4 mailers to the closest.
10 to 25 is a great starting point. Let's say a postcard's $1. Thankfully with Dope, they're cheaper, but just for easy math.
Yeah.
If you're going to do 25 around, that's $100 invested in a job. I don't expect you to do this if you have a $200 ticket. You should be sending 5 or 10, but like there's math to it. The basics, you're already teaching it. The door hangers, the flyers, the Facebook ads, the truck, the A-frame, the postcards are the cherry on top with that.
Yeah, and it can scale into your systems. Like 100%. If you're a bigger business, like you stop doing the manual stuff. The earlier guys go door knock the closest 10 to 15.
Sure.
If you got 15 trucks on the road, you're not going to door knock the closest 10 to 15.
Exactly.
You're going to automate more because you can afford to pay for the bulk of it.
The beautiful side too is it can be based off only certain services, only certain dollar amounts. Like we can turn dials with the automations for your time of year, budget, whatever it is. That is one of the most powerful services we offer to home service companies are our neighborhood automations.
So let's say that I have a junk removal company and I book out like 2-3 weeks at a time.
Yep.
Okay. Would you recommend using the automation tool to at quote approval? Like if I have like a 4 to 5 day lead time or a week to 2 week lead time for jobs at quote approval, do any of your customers go like, do campaigns where the postcard says, "Hey, we have a job scheduled."
It's possible. The problem is like with most things in life. So we batch the mail every 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
And then it comes from Minneapolis currently everywhere in the country. We are not in control of like a post office in Atlanta being slow. I don't like guiding people to like time it so when you're there, it might hit. You're setting your expectations too high. It's the post office.
Yeah.
I like to look at it much more as the branding or the visibility of telling a story. So for anyone that's like ran digital ads, you have your funnel, right? They see this video, then this video, then this. Think of if you had any opportunity with your best customer to tell them the 4 best things about your business. That's what I'm looking for more. Is like we already talked about a little bit, like the likelihood, the year built, the materials, the same builders, like we're already working with that.
Yep.
It's more like I've seen certain very successful strategies where like you mark a quote done and you do the nearest 5 with a postcard or a handwritten note like, hey, we just did a quote at your neighbor's house. We're probably going to be in the area. Keep your eye out, and like a little drippy like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like more very standardized, like, here's what your neighbor's about to do. Watch out, we're doing it. Here's what we're really good at. Oh, here's a reminder, review, testimonial. Like, here's what we just did. Like, that cadence works for any industry, any vertical, and is so like foundational. The special sauce I would put on that is if you have sales technician reps that sell, like anyone in your business, kind of like the face of the job, we can take that data from Jobber, Job News, AccuLinks, JobRight, like whatever, and get headshots of your team. And so if Steve is associated with the job in Jobber, the postcard design, you have Steve, Dave, Timmy, Ben. When they're associated with the job, it's their face, their tracking number, their thing. So you can like build the brand and
Yeah.
the face. If your business works like that, if it's only company focused or you don't want to deal with all like, that's fine. But the granularity, we have clients sometimes that get like really like lost in the sauce of like all
For
the cool
sure.
stuff you could,
Yeah.
and that becomes limiting. You're with us 2 or 3 months and you haven't sent any mail yet because you're doing 100 designs, like that type of stuff. We know right away how to get tactical. We work in home service, and I break it down as a home service business owner into 80 different verticals in home service.
Right.
We will allow you to be involved in it or not in the process, but like feel confident that like just like we wouldn't tell you how to like park the dumpster, do the junk removal, install the lights and do
Yeah.
the thing, do the roofing and put the roof on. It's like you pay us because we know what to do. And if we need ideas or suggestions, like we will, but like giving up control to have control.
Got it. Okay, cool. So like there's a ton of Christmas light guys in that watch this, obviously.
Yeah.
So like if I'm just thinking tactically through myself that hopefully a listener's like trying to think of ways that they can do it in their business.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like I would download all of my renewals right now. I would give you guys the data set of every booked renewal for
Correct.
2025. And we would do probably like because we know we're already in the neighborhood, I would want to do like 6 to 8 in that neighborhood.
It depending on the service, we have strategies that go that I got a strategy called 52 weeks of dope where someone gets a card every week for a
Yeah,
year.
yeah, and like, dude, if you're a roofer or like something like that, that feels like a no-brainer. Just like stay in front of them. So for me, I would download all of my booked returners for the upcoming 2025 season, and
Yep.
we would do mailer campaigns like, "Hey, your neighbor is scheduled to do this with us. We did work in your neighborhood last year. We are, your neighborhoods, whatever else," and
Yep.
just blast that list.
Yep.
Like that's what you guys would recommend.
So we call it a list blitz.
Hmm.
You give us the list and we can do the nearest 25, the nearest 50, the nearest whatever to that list.
Right.
Very strategically break it down into neighborhoods. We can also find consistencies. If you give us that list, we can find you 1,000 customers that have the same year built, square footage of home, materials their house was built, length of residence, income. Like we help with all of that. Your mind is in the right place where one of the beautiful parts about working with Dope is like we let your data tell a story. Remember, Dope, data on previous engagement, like without making this a sales pitch. All we need is you to have a list, or if you're brand new and you don't, we can still give you ideas or suggestions about how to get like much more targeted than you would probably get on your own.
Okay, and we talked about this off camera. Talk to me about like the granularity of neighborhoods specifically.
So, like
So,
anyone that's ever been on like Zillow or Redfin or like looked for a house for sale, houses like we have like, counties and then we have cities and then we have zip codes. Villages go down to like a neighborhood level. So if you think about like McAllister Groveland, Highland Park, Frogtown, Summit Hill, like whatever that is in your area, the names, like if you didn't live in Phoenix or you didn't know, think of how Scottsdale's broken down in like the different neighborhoods and
yeah.
stuff like that. It's that level. It's about 150 to 700 homes. When you connect your CRM with Dope, we identify on a neighborhood level within all of these zip codes what neighborhood are you hot in, and we can allow you to target specific neighborhoods that auto remove the homes that you've done in those neighborhoods and get like that granularly focused. Like it's like Bill Nye the Science Guy stuff
Okay,
for targeting.
where do you recommend they go generic branded postcard versus like spend a little bit more, go the handwritten note?
Your data will tell the story. It depends on how many jobs you have in that neighborhood.
Okay.
Because a branded job, like we have these postcards, we literally call them billboards. It's like your logo on the front with no contact info like a billboard, and they flip it over, and then it's like highlighting a service with the deal and the contact info. And we have like a cycle of just those. For neighborhoods, you got to get your brand up in a little bit more. If you know that a certain time of year, it's a certain service, like gutter cleaning for us in the Twin Cities from like end of October, first week in November. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I could literally buy as many trucks as I could afford, hire as many people that'd be willing to work for me
Yeah,
for
yeah,
3 weeks. Like it's
yeah,
unlimited.
yeah, yeah.
Not very scalable, but money there.
Right.
That time of year, we're less focused on like laser targeting, calling out neighborhoods, granularity, because like it's a game that we know is going to end in a certain amount of time that we're not even in control of. We're looking at the weather a week ahead, like when's it going to freeze?
Right.
When it's like with other services, a little bit more high end, a little bit longer lead time, that type of stuff, like you would want to tell a little bit more of a story and get more granular. The beautiful part is like we have suggestions there, but it's your story.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can help, assist, and do whatever you want. One of the biggest parts that people get caught up on is like overthinking design versus like what's the result you're
Just
looking
ship
for.
it.
There's a middle ground
Right.
of like you just the touch is what's. When was the last time you got like saw a Facebook ad, got a postcard, doing it like, hold on, honey, we're stopping what we're doing right now and
No.
buying now. It's not that. It's the reminder, it's the touch, it's the putting it in the drawer, it's the Instagram retargeting when you bought the pair of shoes because you finally saw them 6 times.
Yeah.
37 pairs of running shoes and
Yeah.
32 of them I don't need because they followed me around on the internet
Yeah.
to like get. And it's that it's your job to stay in front of your customer. And that's what we do with postcards at Dope Marketing. It's not about the one big blast of the thing. There's a time and a place for that. It is the continual drip based on things you're already doing in your business to get you more valuable touches for the right people that lead to better jobs in the right neighborhoods for less money that convert higher.
Yeah, and like I think it's like it needs to be framed properly to people too, because the bad business owner in me a few years ago would just like, I'm gonna buy 10,000. It's gonna cost me, what, 3,500, four thousand
Whatever. Yep.
dollars, and I didn't get the ROI they wanted. It was whatever else. Like that wasn't very smart.
Right.
Like this is like I am here because I am like a firm believer that like the thing that got me to a million was when I first started getting to systems. Like, and then it's systems,
Having something
systems.
in place.
It needs to be
that's-
going the entire time. It's
Correct.
not like it's not these like fits of marketing motivation. It's process over and over again. Okay, and then just for clarity, if I were to do like give you a list and say like give me the closest 5 neighbors to every one of these addresses and I want to do a handwritten note, do you get the first name of the other
I'll
neighbors?
tell you their birthday.
So we could essentially like we have a $5 million house in Paradise Valley, Arizona. We could get the 5 closest neighbors or 10 closest neighbors a, hey Janet, this is Steve from Valley Christmas Lights. I wanted to introduce myself.
Correct.
Why does personalization work so much better than generic?
You gotta not overthink it. So like you don't need the first name of every person on your postcard.
Right.
Those situations, I would lean a little bit more into the handwritten notes because that comes in like a manila envelope. It looks like a wedding invitation, blue pen with the thing. Like it's even still in those situations, especially in those higher end homes, the homeowner or the house manager is going to get that card, get that thing, and then hand it to someone to do it. And it goes back to our real estate story with the who's the best agent versus who's the most known. Any service that anyone provides, you got neighborhood A, neighborhood B. Neighborhood A right now, personalization, all of it aside. You got neighborhood A and you're like, you're running your business. You're in year 2 to year 20 right now. Clearly something you're doing is working in neighborhood A.
Mm-hmm.
Neighborhood B, same home value, same income, same age, same amount of kids, same whole thing. If you were doing everything you were doing in neighborhood A, but in neighborhood B, you were sending that neighborhood a postcard a week, every week for a month, which neighborhood are you getting more leads in? Neighborhood B every single time. And if a postcard's $1 and there's 300 people in that neighborhood, are you willing to spend $1,200 a month to do just that?
Yes.
To have a system
You
running,
should.
you would think so.
It will pencil.
Where people get in their own way with any form of advertising, it's not just direct mail, it's like that reactive, like, this isn't working right now and I'm really upset about this other thing, so I'm going to cancel this because I'm canceling 3 things today. It's like, I get it. I've been there. I understand. It's why you should have a service that's non-contractual, that you can cancel at any time, that meets you where you're at, that maybe you get some credits with your account every month to use the next month if you didn't use them the last month, like whatever it is. There are services out there for any type of marketing where you should be looking at, like, again, there's a level of accountability here, and I'll try to not go on like a complete tangent here because we've been on for a while. But like, all right, what's your marketing budget? I'd spend anything if the ROI is there. Okay, great. What's your branding budget? What's the money that you're spending every month in your business to just make sure that people know about you? Never thought about it like
That's like
that.
not as quantifiable as like a
Well,
Facebook ad that's like ROAS this month, this
look,
week.
go back to like 1-800-GOT-JUNK or these other companies. Ask them what their ROI is on like billboard and radio. You don't know. It's a branding play. That person in town, you have, no matter where you are in the country, you have a law firm or you have a real estate professional that you know and everyone in town knows. Why do you know them?
Because they're everywhere.
Billboard, radio, TV, streaming, Hulu. They sold their kidney. They sold their kid's stem cells. They figured out I'm not telling you to do that. You don't have to. But on a neighborhood level, could you do that? You guys already teach it right now in your program. But if you really look at like, I'm not going to act like I know how to spell ROI because I actually can tell you like, I spent 3,000 this month on Facebook ads and my lead conversion is this and my numbers are this. Like, dude, that's great. But like, what was the branding value of the people that you were running Facebook ads in that zip code that every time they got online to look at what their girlfriend from Facebook's kids were doing, they saw the ad for Jimmy's window cleaning?
Yeah, this is why like we say that there's a time and a place for Google pay-per-click and there's a time and a place for Facebook and there's a time and a place for print
You
marketing.
should simply advertise more when you're busy.
Right.
And when you're not as busy, you have to understand your return on investment or the spend that you get back from branding. It might play out later. But until you got a 6-figure person as your CMO turning the dials on others, stop fucking pretending like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, just be honest about the fact, like, I believe I could spend $3,000 to $5,000 this month.
Yep.
Like, this would not, I wouldn't go broke. It wouldn't affect my business. Know your budget or know what you're comfortable with. I get you might have a big job come in and you're willing to spend a little more dough after that. I get you might have a good week or a good month, but like, at least know and just get yourself out of the stinking thinking of like, well, if the ROI is not there, I got to cancel it right away. It's like, at least say, I'm willing to spend a certain amount of money every month so more people know where I'm at. It's July right now. It's hot and sweaty in Minnesota. Kids are out of school, people are on vacation. Washing your siding is not the number one value. It doesn't mean we didn't put out yard signs this week. It doesn't mean we turned our Facebook. Yeah, our Google search might not be as high. Our next door ads might not be throttling or whatever because we're not getting as good of a return on spend. But like, there will be people that remember your logo, that saw your truck, that saw your stuff. Right. So if you do anything, at least say throughout this year, I'm going to set aside $2-3 grand a month or whatever that magic. Maybe it's 20, maybe it's $200, maybe it's whatever it is like, there's branding going on when we're not busy so that people that are going to hire me will hear about me. I might not be able to track the spend for 3 months, but I stayed in front of the people that mattered.
Yep. Okay. Money.
Long-winded answer.
No, it's perfect. So postcards, handwritten, generic, neighborhood blitz, all of that jazz. You guys do EDDM for the bigger guys.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Or smaller. Look, we talked about this off camera. When it is that hot spot in October, November for gutter cleaning, I'm sending EDDM.
Yeah, right.
Like, I
right.
don't need it to be that targeted. There's also research you can do with every door direct mail. If you get on, everyone should know, or if you don't, just go type into Google EDDM USPS and it'll pull up the tool where you can like look at your own routes and stuff.
Yeah.
8 out of 10 business owners have at least lived for 5 years in the market where they have their business, or else they grew up there. Like 8 out of 10. I get there's exceptions. EDDM, you can find routes that you could be mailing every other month, and it's 500 homes, 600 homes, but it's that pocket of that ball, like where you were saying, where Kevin Durant and Devin Booker live or whatever. There's an EDDM route for that. If I was offering Christmas lights in Scottsdale, I'd be hitting that 700 route home every month, once a month, consistently, whatever. And there's other ones you shouldn't touch.
Yep. Okay, cool. So postcards, all of that jazz under the sun. Cookie boxes.
Yep.
Branded in we got videos and stuff of it. Explain that to these guys.
Yeah. So again, if you would have told me I'd be printing branded cookie boxes for a living, I probably wouldn't have agreed with you. Custom box, totally designed for your logo, mark a certain service, a certain price of a job, a certain whatever. we can automate a custom gift box to go to that home. We have people using those for B2B prospecting,
That
real
was what
estate
I was
agents,
gonna
property
say.
managers, engineers. Whenever this comes out, it's like July to July right now. We have coming into holidays very intricate holiday gifting stuff that gets into more like tchotchkes, things people hang on to, baskets, that type of stuff coming. I've been developing our gift boxing stuff for about 2 years, and before the start of Q4 of 2025, you guys are going to see something like super dope from our expansion on this gift boxing. Right now, as we sit today, custom cookie boxes going out automated next day within 2 days anywhere in the country, totally printed and custom to yours. 3 cookies inside, handwritten thank you note, and some like crinkle paper that matches your
Yeah.
logo.
Okay, money. So yeah, if you have a commercial client like a, B2B where it's
Yep.
like, they're a 5-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure customer,
Whatever.
you should be like customer retention wise, just be sending these like
Jim Rulin from Giftology, rest in peace. I think Jim passed away last year. Jim said you should be spending at least 5% of what you collect from a customer every year on retaining that customer next year. So I don't know if any of you have been to trade shows. I think you guys probably got a swag kit if you haven't yet. I know you don't need big hoodies in Phoenix, but like our red dope hoodie is like a thing.
yeah,
And like we give those things out like hotcakes. Why? It's cool to wear a hoodie that says dope,
it
but it's
is.
also like it became a thing that any customer of ours, if you emailed us, if you're a customer of ours right now, your email's like, yo, I didn't get a dope hoodie at the last trade show. Like, we will mail them to you.
Right.
The dollar amount, and this is if you got a $500, a $1,000 customer, a $5,000 customer, if you can hold yourself accountable, and even if there's a cutoff, you're not going to do it for every 200, whatever you want to do. If you went and said, what is something I could give someone, like a five, like whatever, 5% of what they spend on you. Quick story. We did something super cool for my exteriors company. So I was thinking about like Cutco knives
Hmm.
or people doing different shit of like why you give someone something with your logo isn't because like they're gonna wear your polo of your company to their golf outing. What we started doing for Lion Share, customers who spend over $1,000, we make over $1,000 in profit for. I found this spot in town. We can get an annual car wash coupon for $300.
Oh,
I go buy the car wash coupon for the customer because now when they go through their car wash and we got the die cut smelly things for the car like the trees, but it's like a
hmm.
Lion Share logo. We have them for dope too. If you used a company and every time you needed a car wash, who do
You're
you think about?
you're
Your
never going.
referral, your thing, and there's other cool stuff like that. I think another really good idea when you get into like offers and stuff like that. So expanding on the gifting, giftology, cookie boxes, stuff like that. One thing that I don't think home service companies think about enough is your referral network. Not saying you're subbing out work all over town or doing whatever, but just like your buddy that owns a lawn care company, Steve that owns a carpet cleaning company, if you've given a job or two. If you can figure out how to like give someone a coupon for another service or that like team up with another company of that lead,
Yeah.
you don't need a referral fee, you don't need a thing, but those relationships with people you know in your local market. One of the best offers I've ever seen on, and people are always like, what do we give as a deal? What's an offer? I don't want to discount my services. I don't want to whatever. But at the same time, like, what do you pay a lead? What do you pay for a customer? Figuring out some of your buddies around town that will give you like a $50 first time off customer. That can be your offer on Christmas. Like one of the things we do with Christmas lights, we're like free gutter cleaning with any Christmas light estimate,
Smart.
but we're
Smart.
only doing that advertising in homes over $2 million. Yeah, dude, I'll clean your gutters for free. Because how much I was going to pay you 100, $200 for this lead on Google, Facebook, yard sign anyways.
Yeah.
So why not like give something away to receive or that type
It's
of,
the Hormozy lead magnet.
look at
It's like it
that.
got to be good enough.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. So for use case for me, what we did, just for everybody listening, like tactically at my size of the business, what we do is we gift like a branded ornament when they sign up with us for Valley Christmas. They get a 2025 Valley Christmas ornament. Now next year they're going to get a 2026 and they got a 2024. So we do that on the front end. On the back end, they get a handwritten note from me through Dope where it's a letter that they get to write around, ideally Christmas time.
Right.
It's like, thanks so much for letting us be a part of your holiday traditions. Like, it's been an honor. It's a picture of our team and like a nice handwritten note. They get the cookies as well, like all that jazz. It doesn't take a lot. And then for the people this year that spend over $4,000 and they're at a decent margin, which those would be like very high margin jobs, they get ascended to like a better gift.
Yeah,
So
like the whole like
yeah, because we know we can get repeat on the back end. Like, it's just like looking for those little wow factors we talk about in Home Service Accelerator all the time. Like, we talk about like, hey dude, if you pull up to the house and the garbage cans are empty on the street and they've been taken
pull
out,
them up.
pull them up. Like, find the cheap, stupid little things to make the customer go like, well, they're pretty nice. This is it in its finest form.
You know what I would do with the Christmas stuff?
Please.
A month late. People are over inundated. I learned this with property
Oh,
managers a long time
interesting.
ago. So you go into a property management office during Christmas, and they literally have in one of the offices like a room of all the gift baskets the contractors
All
drop
the
off.
all the fancy
And no one
popcorns.
looks at one logo, one thing. They go in and they go in like a round robin. They get to go in and pick something, go in and pick something. They're not looking at anything. What we found for our Christmas light business, we accidentally did it one year. It was like late. We didn't get our pictures of the house and like the thing and the note out. We did it a month late and we got more thank yous and reactions because they're so inundated with the holiday boxes, the gifts, the cards, the stuff. You do it a month late, they're never mad. They're just like, oh, that was a great reminder and that was a great experience. And it reminded me of Christmas, which I forgot that was a month ago. And now I'm happy and I should give Steve a job.
That's I like that. We're definitely gonna drip something in January,
Yours
like
now.
late January. Okay, cool. So
And
cookie.
you don't say, oops, I'm late.
No, you just rip it.
You're just
yeah,
late.
just
Fashionably late.
yeah. We're just standing out. Okay, so and then yard signs, banners. I saw some bigger signs like being printed out there, like massive. What were those? They were like 5 feet wide.
You know what the beautiful thing about this business? There's a gun line, dude. They don't even let me back there.
Okay, great.
Very removed.
Okay, so
We do like look at that sign right there. I know we can't point the camera at it, but like we do.
like monsters.
But if you do that, get it local. Don't get it from us. You don't want something shipped across the country doing. And we get it. We get the requests for the big 32 by 32, and we'll do them. It's just like with dope. The biggest thing is you and your business. You got 100 problems. We at Dope can solve 4 of them perfectly. Data, design, direct mail, print, and we got a 5th, automation. But it's like these small little tactful things. What's so great about our service is like we meet you where you're at. If you're an owner operator, you just want to get your automation set up and like be done with it, we can do that. You are growing, you might have just hired an office manager, maybe they're going to help with some of it, maybe you're still really involved with the marketing, and you want to get trained how to use our software and whatever, like we can do that. You're in the field or on the other side, you're just removed from the business. You're down in wherever with your family. We have account managers that can run the whole thing for you. We will meet the business owner where they're at to set. We do so much. We don't do SEO. We don't do websites. We don't do LinkedIn. We don't do organic posting. But for the things we do, you can literally come into Dope and just be like, I saw this video with Steve. I wanted to see this. Or I was at this trade show. I want to do this. Or it is our job to educate you on all the things we do. And we have very cool strategy, tactics, all this. Like, God forbid you worked here at Dope. You would have to listen to me training you 3 times a week, whether recorded or live, going through a bunch of this stuff.
Right.
Our team has the training for specific industries to plug in anything that you want to do, you saw someone else doing, you're trying to do. We got a couple wonky ideas of shit that probably won't work. Like I shouldn't use this in the example because it will work, but like our new home buyer feed.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about our 30-mile radius or whatever.
Yeah, new home buyers for some trades.
We have like
massive.
700 companies. I just looked the other day. 700 companies on our new home buyer feed. They give us their office address, their 20-mile radius. We send them back a list of zip codes. They go, here's the ones I want. Here are the ones I don't want. Every single week, we let people get seasoned in for like 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the area. Then every week for 8 weeks, welcome to the neighborhood. Here's what we do. Here's who we are. Right when they buy a home, and you can say, I only want homes over this value in these zip codes. So like we have all this stuff we can do. And I don't want to downplay any of the tact strategy that we've gone through now on this call, but it's like, I want people to rest easy. It's not me, the talking head owner, doing all this shit. And then like, you don't get to someone who's not trained. If you're in the exterior lighting business, if you're in a roofing company, if you're in an HVAC business, like our staff is trained to meet you where you're at with the size of your company, with your budget, because we do have a one fits all solution that is custom for your business, but it's based off proven relative strategies that work.
Right. And this is what I want to really hammer in before we wrap it up. Like, the reason this podcast seems to get some listeners is because I'm right in the middle ground. And I remember what it was like doing very little revenue, a very short time ago,
Absolutely.
very little profit. Now the revenue's a little bigger, the profit's a little bigger, great. Let me just see around the corner for you. Let me see around the corner for everybody listening. You're going to hear this, you're going to be like, "I can do this myself." And I'm just saying that I am not plugging dope for anything more than just like I use them. I tried to do it myself for years. Like, I would pick the list myself. I'd pick the EDDM spots myself, whatever else. What happens is you are just giving yourself another manual task that you won't do at the level that you can accomplish with automation. And that's where I'm like, yes, you guys have to understand, like, you can sit here all motivated, whatever else, in July and December, whenever you're hearing this, and be like, I could do this myself. Like, I can make it a little bit cheaper if I do it myself. You will never do it consistently with the automation necessary to make it work as a long-term play ever yourself. You won't.
I agree.
I mean, I'm the walking proof. Like, I think I'm a dog. Like, I work pretty hard. I would do it for like 2, 3 months, and then we'd have a bad sales month or something like that, and I would just like not do it. And that's like the whole point is we know it's multiple touch points. It needs to be multiple touch points, and they just won't do it.
Throttle it up and down certain times of the
Yeah.
year and just understand like where do you need eyeballs on your business, because we don't do all of it, but we do a portion of it that you don't have to do yourself.
Yep. I love it. So everybody, Dave Carrol from Dope Marketing. Dave, where can they find you on the internet?
The bald guy screaming about direct mail.
Yeah.
Type in dope.
That's what your number's saved as on my phone.
Sometimes on Facebook, if you type in dope marketing, it might give you this warning like, hey, you might be looking and searching illicit drugs. I promise you're not. It's just us. We're trying to talk to Zuckerberg about it, about the warning. But yeah.
I like that.
I'm
I
online.
like that.
Dope marketing, Dave Carrol. We are relatively easy to find.
I love it. All right. Find him on Instagram. Dave Carrol, I'm assuming.
Dave Dope Marketing.
Dave Dope Marketing, and then Dope Marketing's on Instagram as well. I'll be posting them a lot. So, Dave, thanks so much, brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right.
Thank you very much.